What's up, folks? We are late, but we're here, and that's what you guys needed. You needed us to be here. Late doesn't matter. We got everybody. We got the whole gang. We've all assembled. We're ready to break down this card. UFC 309 takes place in New York, one of the sketchiest commissions in the United States. So that's always a good time. And as always, my co-host with me is the Couch Warrior, but we are joined by two very, very special guests, both conveniently starting with E. So that is nice. We have Effie, longtime guest, longtime favorite of the channel, and newcomer Evan. Evan is joining us for the first time, looking to break down this UFC 309 card as part of the panel. This four-piece here is going to be better than any other live stream going on right now by a landslide. So if you're watching another one, minimize that, come back to it, watch their replay, but you're sticking with the live stream here. You're going to be in the chat. We're going to be having a good time. So folks, let's see how we're doing. How are we feeling about this card? Let's start with Effie. He's everybody's favorite. Tell us how you feeling, man. I know you said you're a little under the weather, but how you feel other than that?
Yeah, man, been a little bit sick earlier in the week, getting over it now. Super happy to be here, man. Thanks for having me on again. Love the panel, always watching you guys. But yeah, this card is gonna be good. The main event's all like super disputed, you could say, for that belt. But whatever, man. It's gonna be a good card. It's gonna be sick. I'm excited for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. Evan, what about you, dude? How you feel about this card?
Yeah, man, feeling good. Thanks a lot, guys, for having me on. First timer on this program. I appreciate it. Good card, man. UFC 309, MSG, Northeast gang stand up. To your point about other guys going live right now, I know Big Steve is going live. For sure, don't watch his program. That's something to catch that tomorrow on your ride into work. I'm just kidding. Shout out Big Steve. But yeah, I'm happy to be here and chalk it up with you guys.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Mike, what about you, brother?
Nah, for real. Turn Steve's podcast off. Don't watch that. Don't.
You can go back and watch it later. Watch ours for now.
Yeah, you got time. Yeah, no, I'm hyped. I keep saying I'm hyped for this card, but I'm really not. But I'm always hyped to fight for fights to an extent. You know, there's some good fights. Obviously, Charles Chandler, can't wait for that one. There's a couple fights, and the main event. You know, it's not the best, but it's interesting, at least. You know, I am curious how it's going to play out, what John Jones will look like if someone actually pushes back at heavyweight. And is Stipe done, or can he actually still fight? Because if he can, that'll be awesome. So should be a fun card, I think. Oh, and the old gloves are back, so maybe we'll get some knockouts now.
So literally just like not even 20 minutes ago, Kendra's sitting over on the couch, and she was like, yo, I just saw that Dana White said that the old gloves are back for good now. Like earlier today, I was under the impression that they were just back for like this event and then 310.
Yeah, that's what it was. And then today it came out that it's going to be permanent.
Oh, well, there you go. Back to the old gloves. So all of my overbets just failed. So that sucks. But either way, that's all right. We can get into this card. We got McPooperton down here in the chat. Sounds like he's multitasking. So hopefully he's able to pay attention with us.
Cheers, Poopy.
Dude, he is a multitasker from my understanding. We've got our first fight of the night. We're going to jump right into it. Is a women's flyweight matchup between Veronica Hardy and Eduarda Moura. Let's go ahead and go, Mike. Why don't you kick this one off, Couch?
Yeah, so I've been back and forth on this one. I originally picked Hardy, and I was just going to pass. Then I thought about it some more, and I taped it, and I actually ended up betting Moura, and I'm changing my pick to Moura too. So, like, I think a lot of people are just looking at the Gomez fight with Moura and just saying, okay, yeah, so Gomez kept it on the feet, was able to win the fight. Moura was able to really strike with her. Hardy's a really good striker. She can beat her on the feet. Okay. And then I start watching it, and like, first of all, I'm not even that crazy about Hardy striking. She's a solid striker, but she's not like anything crazy. And her output is pretty low. And the thing that stands out for me is like, I think that Moura kind of struggled with Gomez on the feet because Gomez hits really hard. And that kind of gave her pause a lot and really stopped her from really letting go. And then you watch fights where, you know, she's not really getting as much adversity or any, like the Ruiz fight. And on the feet, she looks a lot better. She's actually throwing combinations, mixing in a knee up the middle. Looks pretty good. Hardy's obviously a better striker than Ruiz, but I don't think she hits hard. So I don't think that kind of threat will be there. So I think Moura's going to look a bit more comfortable on the feet. I like that she's moving up in weight class. I think already she's got a big frame. I think she'll fill in well. She's still going to be bigger than Hardy. I think she's going to be more physical than Hardy. I think the cardio will hold up. And I just think her grappling is going to be too much. Hardy's takedown defense has improved, and I was impressed a little bit with like her hips. She hips up really well, able to scramble. But I still think that Moura's going to be able to get her down. And once Hardy's on her back, she's not great at getting back up. So if Moura can get her there, and I think she can, I think she can keep her there. I wouldn't be crazy shocked if she subbed her, but I think a decision is probably the most likely. So yeah, I'm on Moura plus 120 for 1 unit.
Heck yeah, dude. Real quick, shout out to Proshmo Bets in the chat. Appreciate you dropping by, my friend. Evan, what do you think about this fight? Hardy or Moura? Who are you on?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty accurate. I think Hardy should be a slight favorite. I'm not super interested in betting this fight. I think it goes the distance. That's super chalky, minus 275. Hardy's like first run in the UFC tape is awful. She doesn't have a lot of process to her game. She's kind of a flashy striker, and she's definitely worked on her grappling, and she can throw up some subs and stuff. But I still think that there's a good chance Moura gets a couple takedowns here. So I think it says greasy split decision written all over it. So I'm just happy to pass.
Yeah, fair. Yeah, pretty straightforward there. Effie, what do you think?
Dude, that's crazy. That's exactly my read on this fight. I'm not betting it, but if like you're one of those people that want to have action on every fight or whatever, fight it in split decision. I can see this going, all 3 rounds, and it's going to come down to the damage from Hardy, or assuming Moura gets some control here, her perceived control. I'm going with who I think is going to win. I'm going with Moura to win. I think that she does hit a little bit harder than Hardy. Hardy's footwork is really good. I do like her lateral movement, but I do think her wins are a little bit overrated. Like Miller, in my opinion, is one of the worst girl fighters ever to fight in the UFC, and Hardy's been good to me, man. She's been catching as an underdog, but not this time. I'm just going to stay away. No interest in betting the fight. I think Moura is going to win the decision. I think the best bet to make is a fight to end in split.
I don't mind the split prop there. Like if you're getting wild, you're looking for something to play, like, throwing it on split, especially in, this day and age where we've been getting a lot of those. For me, I feel like I might be searching for some plays because there's not a lot for me. I didn't have hardly anything until last night. So I threw a couple of really small plays on, and I'm kind of lining up with Mike here. I think you kind of got to go with Moura. And the reason why is I think she was killing herself too much to get down to straw weight. It shows because she missed weight by like a half a pound in, I believe it was her last fight. And like when you're missing by a half a pound, that's like you're at the absolute limit. You don't miss by a half a pound because you tried to. That's when you miss by like 2 or 3 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds. Those are the people that are like, yeah, I just didn't care. But if you're missing by a half pound, you tried and you failed. And I think that was why it's a good sign for her to move up. And I think her gas tank's going to be better. And Hardy's really struggled to defend takedowns in, throughout both, stints with the UFC when she was Macedo and Hardy. So yeah, I mean, I gotta go with Moura. I think she could get a submission here, honestly, but I would like to say Hardy's submission defense is going to be decent enough to hold up. So I do like that Moura decision. Plus 300 isn't as high as I'd like it to be, but I'd take it. It's not bad. Because I do see a possible submission. But yeah, I'm on Moura. I got it like plus 124. I think that's not too bad. So we can move right along. It sounds like most people are on Moura, but Evans says the line's correct. So we got one Hardy picker there. We got Oban, Elliott, and Bassil Hafez next. This is an interesting fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing some takes on this one. And let's start with Evan. What do you got?
Yeah, so I bet Bassil Hafez today at plus 240. I don't know why he's only being given a 29% implied probability to win this fight. 29 times out of 100, he wins this fight, according to the odds makers or the market. I disagree with that. I think it's much closer to 50-50. Now, I will be the first one to tell you that I am not super high on Oban Elliott, but he did look – his fight against Preston Parsons in the UK outperformed his tape. I bet Parsons there. And I was confident, sort of, in Parsons. Parsons looked really flat to me. He got deep in on Oban Elliott's hips multiple times, and he just couldn't finish the takedown. Where Bassil Hafez is a guy who is a bit more high octane, I'll say, than Preston Parsons. Like, he's going to blast through you as opposed to, like, cut angles and stuff like that. So I think Oban Elliott at 26 years old is improving. I do think that he will win some fights in the UFC, but he performed much better than my expectations against Preston Parsons, and he landed like 45 strikes in that fight. You know what I mean? Like he's a guy who's always going to win on thin margins unless he's hurting you with a right hand or a left kick. he's not gonna really wrestle proactively. He's not a massive like builder. Like I've seen him gas out. I've seen him get chinned himself. Like he could have gotten knocked out on the Contender Series against Kite Brito. He got stopped by Michael Figlak, years ago in Cage Warriors. Now, again, it's years ago. He's a young guy. But I think that Hafez has a lot of paths here. I think that the biggest concern with Hafez is obviously his cardio, and he didn't look great against Mickey Gall last time out. He's training in Colorado now. So, and I go back and forth on like, should I listen to fighter interviews? And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. In this case, I did because I was interested in playing Hafez and, curious to see what he has to say about, the new training situation. And, he's like, I got tested at the UFC PI for the first time. And I acknowledge that my cardio needs to be better. And it seems like he's for the first time training like a professional athlete. So I kind of am anticipating now the dynamic is different. Now Oban Elliott is coming from the UK. The fight is in Vegas. I think that I think Hafez is very, very live. So plus 240, I have a unit and a half on him. I think that that's obvious value. But again, I've been wrong on Oban Elliott before. So if he beats me again, he beats me again. Maybe it's one of those situations where I just can't get him right. But I'm going back to the well here. Hafez plus 240 just seems really crazy. Now, Hafez against Gall, I get it was a bad look. We'll talk about Gall later, obviously. But he landed 3 takedowns there. And then, he wasn't interested in grappling. I feel like that fight didn't have to be that hard. He just wanted to knock him out. And he's so tense on the feet. I don't know. We'll see. I think takedowns are there if he wants them, at least a couple. I think you have to project him to get 1 to 2 takedowns here. And he's pretty dangerous early. I mean, the Jack Della Maddalena fight, obviously short notice, things like that. I feel like go back to your wrestling here. I like him to win the fight, or if nothing else, I think it's a coin flip. So obvious value, in my opinion, on Bassil Hafez.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely. I like the way you analyze that because you were looking at it like as the side, like, okay, I played against this guy in the last one, and then he proved me wrong, and I'm still going to play against him, and then you acknowledge that he did. So I like that. That was solid. Actually, it kind of made my wheels turn a little bit, so I might have to reevaluate mine. But thankfully, Effie's got to go before me. So Effie, what do you got on this one, dude? You're mute.
Yeah, dude. Kind of a similar story with Hafez for me. I had money on Jack in that fight, and I mean, fuck, dude, he did not look like a minus 500 favorite against Brazil. He was getting work in that fight, and it had me sweating. So I was like, all right, who the hell is this guy? I saw a few. I know he's like a wrestler with heavy hands. Has really good power and he throws hard, but he's like a big, thicker, muscular guy. But he gave JDM a really close fight. JDM had a lot going for him that week, like with a bunch of weight cuts or whatever. But so I then, bet on him against Gall, and then the opposite happens. He doesn't I'm like, fuck, dude. He actually looked bad. They didn't cover his line, in my opinion. Obviously, we won, but it's just like an up and down ride with this guy. And then now, same thing. I actually agree with Evan. When I first saw this line, I was like, whoa, this is interesting. He's a 2-1 underdog, or Elliott being a 2-1 favorite. And then the line is climbing, and I'm like, oh wow, I did not expect this movement. I thought it was gonna be coming in on Hafez here. Yeah, another underdog pick for me. It's 2 underdogs in a row. Pay-per-views don't really have underdogs win that much, but I'm going with Bassil here. I think he can catch Oban. Oban's going to have to put a 50-minute decision in this fight. I think that Hafez can take him down. I think he's going to be dangerous for the whole fight. That cardio is, worrisome if it gets to round 3, but I think he'll be there, man. Give me Bassil, Hafez.
There you go. Okay, so two on Hafez. So this is tricky because I'm doing exactly what McPooperton is saying in the chat. I think the line's way off, and I think this fight is way closer than the line implies. But I think it's gonna be one of those things that if I bet on Hafez, he's gonna lose a really close decision, and I'm gonna just be mad. And I'll be like, but my value is there, and it's gonna just really anger me because I think Oban's gonna do just enough to get the scorecards, and the way that he fights, I think wins. I think he wins the favor of the judges because this guy always looks like he's just battling back, and you find yourself even if you're rooting against him, you're rooting for him. I had Preston Parsons as well, but in that fight, partway through, I'm like, dude, this Oban guy's winning me over, and I'm like, I got money against this dude. Why am I rooting for Oban? So I feel like the judges fall for that too, or something. I don't know, because he just he's in bad spots and he just battles through it and somehow gets the win. So I'm passing entirely on this one, but for the sake of just a straight pick, I feel like I've got to go Oban because I think he just he's just going to somehow win it, even though the line is way off. And I do think it's a really close to 50-50 fight. Let's see. Anakin's making some points here. Hafez KO's live with the old gloves back. Old gloves definitely makes sense. And Oban did get dropped by Val Woodburn. That's also true. I do remember that. The small gloves. I think we got the bigger ones back though. We've got the old gloves, which were bigger but hit harder. I don't know how all this works, but Space Monkey, shout out to you. But yeah, you got it. And we got Christian also on Elliott. So, but yeah, interesting stuff. Couch, I believe, is going to be on Hafez here, but let's hear it, brother. What do you got?
Yeah, so first off with the gloves, I've been like torn this whole time because I just feel like the sample size was not big enough to really understand if knockouts were actually affected or not. And I always kind of figured like logically, okay, the gloves got lighter by an ounce, so wouldn't that cause more knockouts? But then someone explained it to me in my Discord. It's like, you watch bare knuckle and there's very rarely knockouts. It's just people getting the crap beaten out of them. They're not really falling face first and getting knocked out flat. And I guess the more you take away in weight from the glove, like it'll cause more damage. But because when there's more padding, I guess like there's more impact or whatever, and that causes more of a knockout. So that's from what I understand. I don't know if 1 ounce is really enough to make such a tremendous difference. And like there's people now saying things like, we'll talk about that fight soon, but like people saying, okay, now Diniz is a lock. And it's just like, bro, I don't know if it's making as much of a difference as you guys think. But like, hey, I'm on Hafez. And if you guys say that's going to help him, I hope you're right. Because, yeah, look, I mean, when I saw the line at plus 180, I already thought it was off. I played it at plus 200, and I got reverse CLV. So anybody who watches my stuff knows that's a good thing. If we get CLV, that's reason to panic. But reverse CLV is a good thing. And, look, I just think it's another spot of classic recency bias. People were disappointed in Hafez because after the JDM fight, they thought he was going to be this big thing. So they parlayed him, they ITD'd him, did all the good stuff. And then he came out and had a mediocre performance against Gall. And then Oban Elliott did the opposite. Everyone threw him out the trash after the Val Woodburn fight. And then people are high on him now after the Preston Parson one. I just think it's a bunch of recency bias. I think Elliott's the rightful favorite, but I would have lined him like slight, like 55%, 60 maximum. I mean, minus 280 now. I just don't get it. He's the cleaner striker at range for sure, but Hafez isn't really going to give him that range. He's going to be always closing the distance. He's always moving forward, hits like a train. He's a solid striker in his own right. He's not nearly as clean as Elliott, but he's also a decent striker. I don't think he's going to be completely out of it. And Elliott's a good grappler. He could get takedowns of his own, but Hafez so far to me seems like he has good takedown defense. And Elliott can be taken down. When Elliott's taken down, he can give up his back. We saw him give his back to Woodburn in that fight. And Hafez is a great grappler. He has great jiu-jitsu. He has a good back take. Those are things he can do. And I just think that he can land big shots on the feet. I think he can win minutes that way, or moments rather. I think he can win minutes on the ground by taking Elliott down, maybe taking his back. I wouldn't be shocked completely if he subbed Elliott. Wouldn't be shocked if he knocked him out either. Elliott can be chinned, and Hafez does hit really hard. And we got the old gloves back. Maybe that does do something. So, yeah, it's Hafez for me as well.
There you go. I'm on an island on this one. But in regards to the gloves, honestly, I think we should just go back to like taping our hands and just rolling them in broken glass. I feel like that makes for the best fight. And I don't know why we don't just do that. I mean, what do we got to lose, right? Bare knuckle is nothing compared to a good old-fashioned wrapped hand with glass on it. That's what we need. So
I feel like you've participated in that before.
I've never actually done that, but I would do it. I feel like it'd be a good time.
I know you would do it.
I think if Val Woodburn takes you down, you should be cut from the UFC.
Dude, imagine you're like, you got your hands all wrapped in like broken glass and somebody gets a takedown and then just like hand over your face. It's just brutal.
One of my biggest fears of my life is swallowing glass by accident.
I just glass sandwiches,
cutting up my insides all the way down.
Yeah, that's just what you want.
It's terrifying.
Nothing quite beats like a light bulb sandwich. But I don't know. I've never done it, but I'm definitely down to do it. Like, it sounds right up my alley. Like, we used to do machete fights back in the day, just like for fun.
Of course you did. What else would you be doing?
Yeah, dude, like I still got there's like a scar on this finger here from when they made me start going left-handed because I was too good at it. So they were like, and I'm pretty ambidextrous, but like I'm mostly right-handed. So they started making me go left-handed because I was like winning all the time.
You're a
But now you're like a gnarly
psychopath,
star.
bro. You're an absolute psycho.
Yeah, dude. I live in Nebraska. What else is there to do?
Sword fight
Okay.
and build metal shacks, apparently.
You damn right. You damn right. Now my metal bunker, if you will, helps keep out the people coming with the machetes. So like, good luck chopping through that. We can move on. I don't know how, but somehow this fight is third on the card. We have Mickey Gall taking on Ramiz Brahimaj. And by golly, this is somebody actually in my comments section today said I should change my name to By Golly MMA, which is actually really funny. I just thought of that. But by golly, this is a fight in the UFC in the year 2024. That's something. I would love to hear. Oh yeah, dude, Crossover's right about that. The zoo is legit in Nebraska. The one in Omaha is like, it's like the best zoo in the world, apparently. I don't know, or at least the best zoo in the United States. So if you ever like somehow end up in Omaha, it's worth it. But yeah, Effie, kick this one off because we got to hear some good takes here.
Yeah, man, this is wild. Like someone's gonna walk away saying they won a UFC fight, like in this fight. That's absolutely crazy. But yeah, man. On one hand, we have Mickey Gall, who's like as close to a Make-A-Wish fighter as we can get in the UFC, and then Ramiz. I mean, he looks so bad against Themba, bro. Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't understand how you could look so bad, and then you find out that he has like this crazy neck problem or whatever. And I'm like, oh fuck, that kind of explains a little bit more shit. But then his wins, man. Michael Gilmore, I'd be like, I don't want to talk smack, but like, I legit think he's also one of the worst fighters ever to fight in the UFC. He was horrible on Tough, horrible in the UFC. Like, that was insane. So even his wins aren't that good. If he's gonna beat Mickey Gall, he has to like not gas out, which I think can happen. And I think Mickey Gall has a chance to really put it on him late in this fight. I think that Mickey Gall is a good enough grappler not to get submitted, but I'm not paying juice for it, dude. No way. I'm going dogger pass. I'm actually picking Ramiz to win this fight. And honestly, he probably has like 5 minutes to do it, or else he's probably going to get lit up on the feet. But hey, like, I don't think Mickey Gall is worth it at juice. I think Ramiz can grapple here in this fight, even though I legit think he has two of the worst wins ever in the UFC. Give me Ramiz, man. Give me Ramiz submission at some point in this fight.
That's wild. I get it. I totally get it because like it's hard to pick Mickey Gall. Dude, Ramiz is terrible. And I don't usually like, I try not to say that, but like he landed 3 strikes in that in a fight that went to decision.
0 at distance.
Right. But 3. Like I can't wrap I could have landed more than that against Themba and I probably would have got finished. And like I'm not saying I'm like good compared to like Themba Gorimbo, who's like an actual fighter in the UFC, but I'm pretty sure I could hit him at least more than 3 times. Even while I'm getting choked to sleep, I would hit him more than 3 times. So I don't know, man. Like I almost want to bet Mickey Gall, and then I'm like, you can't put money on Mickey Gall. It's tough. It's so tough. This is a rough fight. I don't even. The chat's popping. I love it. That's awesome. Dude, like, Pooperton's on tonight. Dude's killing it down there. I love this. Yeah, dude. Like, I get that. That's rough. Yeah, I guess I gotta take Mickey Gall, and like I'm this close to like betting him just because this card is like hard to find good lines on people to bet. And like Mickey Gall is like, I mean, I feel like he'll at least throw punches. So I'm taking Mickey Gall, but I don't know. Maybe some like Effie's got me taking a back step now. I was like last night I had him in the queue and I was like,
bro,
no, we better think.
The fucking giant deuce versus turd sandwich. Fucking,
dude, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what we've got here. So I don't, yeah. Also, real quick, I got to shout out Mr. Nice Guy for being one of the nicest guys. So like, follow him on Twitter, check out his website, everything. I'm always retweeting him and stuff. So just check my page. But yeah, dude's fantastic. So we actually jumped on a phone call, like, I don't know, like a month or so ago and chatted for the better part of an hour at least about just like MMA and stuff. And it was great. So dude's awesome. So shout out to the man. But Mike, can you maybe convince me of either side in this? Because this is a ridiculous fight.
No, I mean, I can try to convince you not to bet on Mickey Gall because you're my friend and friends don't let friends bet on Mickey Gall at chalk. If you were betting him as a dog, I would love and support you, but If you're betting him at what is it now, -140, I just don't know. Like, has Brahimaj been disappointing to say the least? Yes. I bet him against Themba, and I was like, look, I'm probably gonna lose this, but there's no way that Themba covers. What was it, like -300? And he covered. And Ramiz just did not look good. But like, I still remember him going into the Max Griffin fight. I remember I taped Ramiz. I picked Griffin to win. That finish was the craziest. Still, I think the craziest thing I've ever seen. You guys remember the ear just off? Like, Griffin literally took his ear off. Craziest shit I've ever seen. Not relevant to this fight whatsoever. I don't think Mickey Gall's going to take his ear off, but I just wanted to talk about it. But look, like, skill for skill, right? Just going through it. Grappling, I feel like Ramiz is the better pure wrestler, and I feel like Ramiz is the better pure jiu-jitsu guy. I think that Gall is also decent in the grappling, but from what I've seen, I feel like Ramiz is the better grappler offensively. Defensively, both guys could be taken down, but like the guys taking down Ramiz are pretty good. Like, Themba's a good grappler. Court, obviously, we know what's up with Court, and that was a few years back too. And Gall on the other side, he's been getting taken down a bunch. He did pretty well against Hafez, but Hafez was also not really proactively wrestling as much as he usually does in that fight. So like I said, grappling, I give to Ramiz. Striking, can't believe I'm saying this, I give it to Gall, I think. I mean, his output is certainly better. He's more urgent on the feet. Against Hafez, he actually seemed like he has some pop to his punch, which is good for him. Didn't see that coming. So maybe he can hurt guys now. And Ramiz's striking isn't, I wouldn't say it's bad. It's meat and potatoes, not in a bad way necessarily. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but he's a solid striker. He just needs to throw more. If I knew that Ramiz will come out here and at least try to throw as much as Gall's going to throw, then I would probably be taking the dog shot. And I'll be honest, if the line keeps going the way it is and Mickey gets to something ridiculous, then I'll probably hop in on Ramiz. I don't want to. I'd rather not. But, like, I give him an edge in the grappling, and I give Mickey the edge in the striking, but not by a ton. And then the cardio, I guess I give to Mickey, competition to Mickey. So, like, he's probably the rightful slight favorite, but it's just gross. I don't see him standing out in this fight unless I'm, like, really off about the striking and he just pieces him up, which I just don't think is really going to happen. So, yeah, I'll pick Gall, but it's a dog or pass for me, and if the line gets crazy enough, I'll play the dog.
I mean, cardio's definitely for Gall. Like, I'm pretty sure Brahimaj gets winded walking up the stairs because, like, dude's done, like, immediately. Evan, what do you got on this one, my friend?
Yeah, bit of a contrarian take, maybe. I don't have a bet on it. I don't know that I'll bet it. I am monitoring the line. Never Mickey Gall. Never Mickey Gall as a favorite in the UFC. Never, never, ever, ever. Do I want to bet Ramiz Brahimaj? Not at this number, but give me plus 150 and I'll consider it. I don't hate the GTD either at Pick'em. I think that, here's the thing. Mickey Gall has a 37% takedown defense. And Ramiz Brahimaj, we keep talking about his striking metrics. The reason why he only lands single-digit strikes in a fight is because he's so reliable to go to the grappling. And Themba was just too strong and too physical for him and too big. Mickey Gall's a big guy, but he's not physical. 37% takedown defense. Like, I think Ramiz is getting a takedown in round one, and I think he's the better jiu-jitsu guy. His cardio is not good. He's never won a decision in his professional career. I totally get it. If there is a guy in the UFC that he can win a decision over, I think it's Mickey Gall. And the books are pricing it that way. I actually looked at what is Ramiz by decision. It was like plus 230. What the fuck is that telling you? Like, this is going to be a competitive fight. I think Ramiz, in his last fight against Themba, had over a 2-year layoff because of a neck injury. That's not good, but he's only 29 years old. I want to see him at the weigh-in. I want to see some things before I consider betting Ramiz Brahimaj, but I'll say never Mickey Gall. Never the 7-6 Mickey Gall with a 37% takedown defense at chalk. In my opinion, that's just me. I don't really think this plays out on the feet because Ramiz doesn't strike with guys, which we keep alluding to. So can Mickey stuff his takedowns? Is Mickey going to sub him off his back? I don't think so. Maybe Ramiz death gasses like he did against Themba. All right, then it's a close fight, in my opinion. I still think Mickey wins this on very thin margin. So it's dog or pass. Hopefully, there's been a lot of steam chasing, in recent months, and if I can get plus 150, I'm in on Ramiz. And I also don't hate a GTD as like a soft hedge. That's my take. I'm not as low on Ramiz as a lot of other people. I think Mickey Gall sucks ass, personally.
I kind of think they both do, honestly. That's the problem.
This might be a winner and loser leaves town fight.
Yeah, like it's one of those things where like I just don't know how either of them are at this. I mean, I guess I know how they got here, but like I don't know how they're still here, type of thing.
I don't know
to answer
if
Henry's
it's really
question,
that bad, bro.
Who is it?
I don't know if Ramiz is really that bad. Like sometimes I hang on to guys and I keep saying they're good when everybody else says they're bad, and I'm totally wrong. But I just feel like we're being a little harsh.
He's so reliant on round one submission.
Yeah, but like who's he fighting, right? I mean, Themba is a huge dude, grappling heavy pace from the jump, just didn't stop. Then before that was
I actually
Gilmore.
think he competed. I think he competed kind of well, despite being super tired off a 2+ year layoff against Themba, who's big and physical and strong. A lot of things that Mickey Gall is not. I don't think that Mickey Gall can wrestle. I mean, Mike Perry's taking him down.
He had Gilmore, who he ran through, whatever. He had Court McGhee, who is a fantastic
He's tough to grapple.
A really good counter grappler. And then before that was Max Griffin for his debut. Like, he hasn't actually lost to anyone bad.
He's also from the Bronx. This is in New York.
People forget that. People keep saying Mickey's the hometown guy, actually.
Ramiz is going to have a big crowd pop, I think.
I don't know. When Hey Mickey hits, I think the crowd goes wild. But then again, they could pop for both, to be honest. But like Hey Mickey's a good crowd getter, you know.
Ramiz is from the Bronx, bro.
Yeah, but like, you know, like it's just kind of like if you just walk out to the right song, sometimes you win the crowd over anyway. You know what I mean? It's like how like you hate it, but you're like at an event and then like start playing like Sweet Caroline and you find yourself like bop-bop-bawing and you're like, I fucking hate this. You know, and like it's the worst. You don't want to do it, but like you get sucked into it and you're like, I hate myself right now. So
Mickey Gall did just become a father, a girl dad, which could give him like superpowers, I think. So shout out to him. So nothing better than being a dad, especially a girl dad. Shout out Mickey Gall.
There's something about that. It's the thing. But to the question about the whiteboard. The whiteboard is at my home studio where I record all my recorded videos. I can't live stream from my home. It's in a bunker in the woods, and that's like it sounds like a joke, but that's a dead serious thing.
He's so serious.
So I can't live stream from there because my download speed is literally 10 megabits per second, which is really bad. So the upload speed is even worse. So no, we don't get the whiteboard, unfortunately. I have to stream from my girlfriend's place. So, but thankfully the very sweet and kind Kendra has the ultimate John Jones hater. Actually, if you've been keeping up on my Twitter. Is so kind as to let me stream from her place. So, but we can move on.
Shout out Kendra.
Yeah, shout out to Kendra. She's the ultimate John Jones hater. She's got more zingers on like John Jones. I would keep tweeting them out, but like I've already done too many, so it's like I gotta like just like tell her to get her on Twitter. But yeah, it's she's good at them, so that's always nice because John Jones is a trash bag. But we can move on. Heavyweights next. Marcin Tybura takes on Jhonata Diniz, and this is a matchup where I've guaranteed myself a win regardless of who wins, and I'm thrilled because honestly, that is free money is the best money, and that's what I did. I played both guys at dog odds. Happy to do it. Played them with the same number. Player for the same number of units at like different numbers for plus money, but both of them are plus money, so it's nice. I win no matter what. I just wish I played them heavier, but I didn't know the line was going to flip like that. But it did. Honestly, I think Tybura should win. Diniz is going to be dangerous, but I think Tybura has taken down guys that are better at resisting the takedown than Diniz is. And I think that Tybura can do that. But at some point, there's, in every fight, you start on the feet. In every round, you start on the feet. And a guy like Diniz, he gets pretty hard. So, they're heavyweight dudes. So, you can't be super confident in it. But then again, heavyweights outside the top 5 usually they end up cage pushing for most of the fight. So I think that what we're going to get here is a lot of cage pushing from Tybura, just grinding on him, and it's going to be really boring, and I absolutely love it. So, and I agree that at plus 105 was an easy click. I got him at plus 115 for Tybura. So, but then when the line flipped to plus 125 on the other side, I said, cool, we're just taking free money. But yeah, Tybura is my pick. Couch, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I got to the early lines. I used to bet lines before I taped if I felt like they were super off. And if it's like really, really crazy, I'll still do it. But now I really try to wait until I tape. And I taped, and now I missed it. And I do like Tybura. I mean, I'm still kind of considering laying the chalk. I'm hesitant because it is really binary at the end of the day. He is really slow. He can be chinned. Diniz is relatively fast, clean striker, good kickboxer. But like the way I see it is the gap on the feet isn't that crazy wide. Like, yeah, Diniz is a good striker, but I think that Tybura will be at least relatively competitive. He won't be as fast, but he's still a decent striker in his own right. He's relatively durable, at least recently. And I just think the gap on the ground is much, much wider. Like Austin Lane taking you down and you getting stuck. When Williams actually went for it, took him down, he got stuck. If Tybura gets him down, and I do think he can get him down, Tybura is a solid wrestler. We've seen him take down plenty of big dudes, big, strong guys. And once he gets on top, I think that Diniz will be in a lot of trouble. I think that Tybura will have a tremendous jiu-jitsu advantage. You could probably sub him. You could probably get in a really dominant position and TKO him. I think that's live as well. So I feel like I have to go with Tybura then. If I think the gap on the feet isn't that wide, I think the gap on the ground is incredibly wide. I'm going to go with Tybura. And also, we haven't really seen Diniz's cardio tested too much. Like, he went to a decision against Williams, but the pace was not pushed there. If Tybura is getting a lot of takedowns and actually making him work, I think Diniz might gas as well. So, yeah, it's Tybura for me.
Word, I'm with you there. And that's an interesting point. I mean, Aspinall could chin anybody, including like a Moose. So that's fair. So, I mean, you know, maybe that makes you feel a little better about Tybura's chin. So that's nice. Evan, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, I have no idea about this one, just to be frank. I think it's about as binary as it gets. I think if Tybura gets on top of Diniz is kind of fucked. But I also think just because he hasn't been chinned recently by anyone other than Aspinall doesn't mean he's not going to be chinning at 39 years old. He's been knocked out a bunch, and Diniz hits hard. I actually, like, there was like a fight doesn't start round 3 on FanDuel that wasn't like a bad line, but then it locked, and I just tried to pull it up, but screw it. I mean, the under 2.5, it's mostly the totals at a 1.5. I hate under 1.5s. I think somebody gets finished. Like, find the best doesn't start round 3 or under 2.5 line you can. I think that I'd be shocked if this goes to decision. I don't feel like picking a side here.
Fair enough. Yeah, I don't blame you. I mean, if it goes to decision, it would have to be that Tybura decided just to cage push him for 3 rounds. But like, I mean, yeah, I can't imagine he can't get the takedown. So, Effie, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, so I bet on Carl Williams against Diniz.
Same.
Then he straight up didn't wrestle, and I was like, well, fuck me, right? But yeah, I think Couch said it earlier, like, and I really agree with this point. The gap on the mat is just way bigger than the gap on the feet. Even though Diniz is fast and he does it super fucking hard. Yeah, I really agree with Evan too. It's super binary. Like, if the guy gets put on the ground, he's gonna get destroyed. Like, I really don't see him getting up. Like, if both his shoulder blades are on the mat, he's not going to post to an elbow. He's not going to get a sweep. He's definitely not going to give up his back. I mean, if he does, he's gonna get finished in the fight. So, yeah, I think there's going to be violence. I think it doesn't go. I think it's going to be Tybura finishing the fight. But I missed it, man. I tweeted it. I was like, damn. I saw the line on Saturday. I thought it was going to be plus money throughout the week. I thought that was interesting. I was like, oh, Tybura is a dog. Maybe I'll take a look at that. I go and I'm like, all right, cool. Let's take Tybura. She's minus 150. I was like, oh, well, I guess I missed it. And I want to force it now. So I'm not going to bet the fight. I'm going to pick Tybura, though. I think he does get him down and then kind of work him on the mat here.
There you go. Gets him down, works him on the mat. Sounds like we all kind of agree that it's just kind of like it's either this or this. It's just which one is it? So
it's going to have to come from the clinch, too. He's not shooting a single leg. Like, they're going to clinch up, cage push. And then the last pay-per-view, there was a fight where the ref would, like, instantly jump in.
Oh, my God.
I forget who it was. Bro, that was crazy. Like, that was legit crazy. So it's a
Ridiculous.
pay-per-view again here in New York. Who knows? Crazy stuff might happen, but Tybura definitely doesn't need that to happen.
Is it just me, or is New York one of the worst commissions? It's got to be, right? Like, anybody else agree?
Everything we do is the worst, so I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't go that far, but definitely that.
Yeah, it has a pretty bad rep. I mean, it took a long time for like MMA to even exist in New York. They're kind of behind the curve.
Yeah. And they're corrupt.
Tybura's on short notice here, right?
Yeah,
they're kind of both are, because like Diniz was supposed to fight Derek Lewis 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Does Diniz cut weight?
Yo, I was about to ask the same question.
Like that's 2 in a row, like a month. So
it just seems like so high variance this fight. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I honestly think doesn't go the distance is parlayable if you're into that kind of thing. I just feel I'd be shocked if this went 15 minutes.
You might lose your mind though.
True.
Because like
there's a couple slow boys slapping titties against the cage.
Yeah, what if they both just get tired and just decide that like we're just gonna hug for?
Well, that's the
10
thing
minutes.
with heavyweights, right? I feel I don't have stats for this. I would love to, but I feel like if heavyweights make it past like the 7.5 minute mark, then the fight usually just goes the distance because they get too tired to do anything relevant and then just don't finish.
Anything outside the top 5. Like top 5 is different, but dude, heavyweight overs were a thing for a long time, and that made me so much money because they would always give you 1.5. And like you don't bet it with the top 5, maybe top 7, but like every other just like fat slob of a heavyweight, the over, because they're just not good fighters. Because anybody that's that big is playing a sport that pays a lot of money if they're like an actual athlete, and most of them are just fat guys that like to throw, and then they're like, I'm too tired to do anything, and it's just overs. So it like Derek Lewis said in the interview when he was supposed to fight Diniz, he's just like he said that he thinks Pereira would do really well at heavyweight because we're just a bunch of fat guys up here. And he's like, it's a good point,
He would do well as long as they didn't give him a grappler again.
Even then, like if he just survived long enough to like wait till the fat guy's tired, you know what I mean? Like he'd be all right. So like, because Pereira's not going to get tired after like 5 minutes, but like a 265-pound blob is. So, I mean, he's not going to do well against the top guys, but he beats everybody outside the top 5. Anyway, we can move on. Let's see. Where did we end on that one? Who even started? I started that one. So that means Mike does start this one. Mike, you're going to be kicking it off with the newest addition to the card. We have Roberto Romero taking on David Onama. Who do you have and why?
So I've been waiting to spark this for the right moment. And then when I realized that I'll be doing the Roberto Romero fight, I decided this is the right moment. So
there you go. Shout out to Classical Andrew while Mike's getting his stuff going. Glad to see you here, brother. I'm always happy you made it. And same thing for MMA Clips. MMA Clips is one of the most loyal fans in the space. So shout out to MMA Clips and Classical Andrew. You both are fantastic human beings. So I'm really happy that you guys are here. But yeah, take it away, Couch.
Yeah, so I threw a quarter unit on Roberto Romero at plus 700. Look, Onama is leagues better than this guy. He's fought the much better competition. He hits very hard. He will be bigger. 100% should have been a heavy favorite. Minus 300-ish makes sense. But to make him like this, like minus 900, it was minus 1,000 when he's on David Onama. Like he makes a ton of mistakes constantly. He's very sloppy and he's gassy. So like with all those issues, I don't know how you can make him minus 1,000 unless he's fighting like, I don't know, Weston Wilson maybe. I don't really know who you would make him. Jekka, I guess you can make him. That would be fun, honestly.
Dude, Jekka could crack though. You never know.
That would be a fun fight now that I say it. But look, Roberto Romero, I was taping him. You can't find his 2 most recent fights, or at least I wasn't able to, or the most recent one. You'll find the rest. He's fought some bigger guys, so I don't think the size will be a huge issue. Onama will be more physical, but it won't be the first time Romero's ever seen that. Romero's this guy. He's a brawler. Not much defense to speak of. He's got decent head movement. He'll turn with punches sometimes, but he takes a lot of shots, so it's a little bit concerning. He's relatively durable, though. Only been knocked out once in his, believe it was his second pro fight. And he's just a brawler. He gets in the pocket, he lets it rip, and then he shoots. He can grapple relatively well. I don't think it's going to be easy for him to take Onama down. I don't think it's going to be easy for him to hold Onama down, but I do think he can mix that in. I think that he can make this a close, sloppy fight. I think he could force an error out of Onama, And at plus 700, I'm willing to take a small quarter unit shot. If he dies, he dies. But I think he's going to make Onama work. I don't think this is going to be an easy fight for Onama. And I wish Romero's cardio was a little bit better because he can gas a bit too, and he is on short notice. He's a guy who usually stays ready. A lot of his fights were taken on short notice. Maybe that's why he's usually slowing down. But Onama slows down too. That's why I said I wish Romero had a little bit better cardio so I could rely on that a bit more. But at the end of the day, it's a plus 700 shot. I expect him to lose, but I think that it's far too wide, and I think there's a decent chance he can win. So put a little sprinkle on it.
I don't blame you. I get it. Big dog, might as well. And if he dies, he dies is always a great way to see things. It's definitely one of the better lines ever uttered in a movie. So there you go. Evan, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not the biggest David Onama guy in the world. So when I see him lined as like a 9-1 favorite, I'm like always a little bit interested in kind of taking Mike's approach and trying to see if there's an angle on the dog, which maybe there is. I mean, I would never, give anybody a hard time for taking like plus 600, plus 700 guys in the UFC because I feel like 9 times out of 10 it's a plus EV move. David Onama is obviously, we know, big hitter, big guy, physical for the division. He's got some skills. I mean, he won the Jonathan Pierce fight on reversing him. Like Pierce kept taking his back and he reversed him, right? Like he kept turning into, and ending up on top. But Pierce was still taking his back, like he still is very green and raw in the grappling in some cases. So, I mean, I think Romero I think this plays out closer than the line indicates. If anything, I considered for a brief moment, like the over 1.5, it's like minus 135. I like that type of bet. I like the sweat. I like to cash that type of, you know what I mean? Just root for the dog to just stay in there a little, 7.5 minutes. But then I'm like, it is so short notice that, and I'm not saying I won't bet it. I definitely think Onama wins the fight. But if I'm betting anything here, it's the over 1.5. I don't know that I will. I was talking to Chad, MMA Chad, told a dork from Canada on the phone earlier, and he was like, here's the thing about this fight and the over 1.5. A lot of times these refs, when they're quick to jump in, it's like these guys on super short notice. They're like, just, fight's over. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if he gets hurt. If I didn't have any other betting angles on the card that I really felt good about, maybe I'd consider the over 1.5. Maybe I get there. We'll see. But it's hard to, cap this fight. It's short notice, highly volatile stuff. So I'll pick Onama to win by knockout at the 8-minute mark.
There you go. Dude, I love betting the overs, especially over 1.5, because they hit more often than people give them credit for. But overs, like, there's something just awesome of, like, because it's a great way to make a really, like, not super exciting fight really exciting.
I love it.
Like, they're pushing up against the cage and not doing anything. You're like, oh yeah, this is awesome. Keep doing that. And you're like, really, like, let's dump them again.
That's a fact. It feels like you're cheering for them not to do their job, though. So it's wrong.
Love it.
Like guard retention. Retain that guard.
Yes. It's like my favorite bet to make is like an over, just because it's so dumb, but I love it. Like, it's like you're rooting for the opposite of violence. So I don't know. But so I'm with you on that. I actually might play that now you mention it, but I
kind of like it here also. I was looking at it too.
Like, it's not bad. Like, but I mean, it's definitely one of those things where
dude Romero's durable, bro.
Yeah.
Dude, he's Mexican.
That's true. Dude, actually, that's a good point. Dude, I'm like, what's that over 1.5 at right now? Anybody know?
Minus 135, but I'd wait. Money's coming in still.
Yeah.
Okay. I might. If that hits plus money, I'm playing it.
Easy, but it won't. I don't think it will. But
so, shout out to AA5K down there. Good to see you, my friend. I haven't seen you in a little while, so it's always good to see you. So, anyway, Effie, let's hear what you got, brother.
Yeah, man, nothing a lot to add on that. I think Onama's going to win. I think he's going to finish the fight. I worry about like a Zach Scroggin type scenario where the dude took the fight on super late notice and just like straight up got dominated. Like, he got killed. He got killed like 5 seconds. Because these guys are just taking this opportunity to get in the UFC, right? Like, this first fight isn't so important. Like, obviously you want to win, but like, is it really that important when you have 3 more fights guaranteed now? Like, so I do worry about like the desire to win or something. And like Couch said, I think that's a really good point. Like, the ref knowing that this guy is on short notice on like however long he has, and then they start to get marked up. I think their trigger is a little bit quicker than a full camp guy or a regular fight. But I never really thought about that. That's a good angle. But yeah, man, going Onama here, just super athletic black guy. How could you go against him? And then Romero's Mexican, so yeah, like you guys say, it's pretty durable. So I mean, not gonna bet this fight. It's pretty wild of a line, with the money line wise. But Onama round 2, round 3. I think that's how it goes.
Word,
Yeah.
dude, I'm straight up just betting the money line on Onama. No, I'm just
I
playing.
got 10 units to win one.
Just totally not doing that.
A lock.
One
I mean,
fight,
like,
Onama, Bo
one fight-
Nickal, and
yeah,
Jones.
Yeah, right. One
It
fight I always
probably
think
will.
about with these like short notice weird things is remember when Megan Anderson knocked out Norma Dumont? Norma Dumont took it on like 5 days notice to get in the UFC and took a one punch and just like was like, I'm done, But then she's clearly her career trumps Megan Anderson's career. She's a good fighter, but like, the guy last week who just was like, all right, look, I'm doing the UFC a favor. I got my contract. I'll come in the second time around and like compete. But
I mean, still, I think it was way outmatched though.
Yeah,
He's a whole different animal.
yeah.
But
Should have
yeah,
taken that KO prop, dude. Damn, I had him sub. I was like, God damn it.
Yeah, but like, why take the damage if you're Scoggin or
Yeah,
it's like I'm not gonna beat this guy anyway. Like I'm just let me get out of here and collect a little money and then compete the second time around.
yeah, we can't all be Cody Durden in our UFC short notice debut and just go out there and 10-8 Chris Gutierrez in the first round and then just die. But
Who
like,
was that
still
Brazilian kid? I think his name was Felipe.
Well, Durden's
Felipe,
built.
Oh yeah,
Bro,
Felipe's
that
legit,
dude came in fucking.
The dude.
That dude's good.
From
I bet him in that
Felipe
fight too.
Lima. He's good.
Lima.
There's a lot of examples of that. Remember Quinones Hakparast? That's another one. Prado when he fought Malarkey on short notice. I think Lacerda Stamen was also a short notice one. Who else fought hella close? There's a bunch of them.
Hafez fought fucking JDM close. Like,
Hafez, JDM.
Hafez, yeah. But yeah, most of the time.
Lopez, Diego, yeah.
That's true. Diego Lopez was a perfect example. Yeah. So I mean, okay, there's a bunch, but like most of the time they do just die when they come in. That's fair. I guess for my pick, it's gonna be Onama, obviously. It feels dirty. I'm in like the hell is it called? Like a survivor pool type thing. And like I had my lineup in and I was like, yo, can I switch to put Onama in there? And they were like, yeah, sure. But I mean, like he's probably gonna win at a really high clip. So when like it's even, like you just have to win, like pick a winner. Like I think Onama's like one of them, like one of the top 5 for sure. So I mean, yeah, but the over, I do like that. It's like Space Monkeys like laid it out perfect here. Fast twitch muscles versus Mexican durability. I love it.
He's got that quick twitch.
Yeah, I'm taking the Mexican durability to last over 1.5, but Onama's probably going to get it. So yeah, easy enough. We can move on. Let's see. We've got Evan kicking off the next fight, and that is Jim Miller and Damon Jackson. There we go. This is a good fight. This is a fun fight. A couple of vets. What do you got, Evan?
Yeah, this is a great fight. Damon Jackson coming up to 155 off of that brutal beatdown at featherweight to Chepe Mariscal. That was 2 months ago. Like that, he's not a lot of time in between fights. I love Jim Miller. Jim Miller is one of my favorite fighters of all time. I am in PA currently, but I am a Jersey guy at heart. I grew up in Jersey. Jersey Jim Miller, just an absolute savage, man. 41 years old, obviously. Guy's been around forever. Interesting fight. I think that round 1 is going to be real dicey for Damon Jackson because I think that Jim Miller is the much better striker. He's got a great left hand. He leg kicks really well. And I just don't think Damon Jackson ever really got super comfortable on the feet. I think that the narrative here is that Damon Jackson can put a pace on him as the fight extends, which I get that that's very possible. I don't know. I'm going to see what the line does. Best I see right now, I mean, bet online is plus 151 for Jim Miller. I could never bet Jackson at minus 176 in a weight class he's never competed at, like 2 months removed from a life-altering beating at the hands of Chepe Mariscal, against a guy in Jim Miller who I think is a much better striker, and I think the pure jiu-jitsu when they're fresh probably give Miller an advantage. I think Damon Jackson can, again, probably maybe out-hustle him as the fight goes on, but I think people tend to overrate Jackson's cardio a bit. I've seen him slow down. I've seen him get tired. He's got a motor. You know, he's 36 years old. He's not a spring chicken. Jim Miller, I just pictured him coming out to like the Sopranos theme song at MSG. He's gonna fucking fight for your money, dude. So to me, it's dog or pass. I'm interested in the way I would play this, and this is something that I'm considering, pondering, is the GTD is pick'em. It's minus 115 right now on Bet Online. And I think playing Jim Miller's money line for, like, let's call it a unit stake, right? And then going the GTD for the same exact stake. I'd be shocked kind of if Damon Jackson, I don't think he's submitting him unless Jim Miller's cardio completely falls off a cliff. I don't think he's knocking him out. So I think Jackson's path is a decision. And I think Jackson's going to struggle in round 1. So I think it's, you know, to me, I think I agree with lining Jackson a favorite. I think it's at a point where there's maybe some value on Jim here. And I think the only way I see it really finishing is if Jim catches him in round 1. I mean, if you watch the Ige fight, and I tweeted it out, like, Ige lands like a little left hook and like Jackson just falls over. I'm kind of thinking Jackson's durability is a big question mark at this stage in the game. And I think that Miller's pretty live to land some left hands in the southpaw stance in round 1. So I think the value's on Jim. Or Jackson out hustles him to a decision. In which case I think a GTD bet and then a Miller bet for the same stake. Like maybe you win them both, or maybe you just break even, or, you know, if Jim gets a finish in round 1, you still profit. That's how I would approach it. I don't have any action on it right now. If the line blows out, I'll get to Miller eventually. For the sake of a pick, I'm going to take Miller. I think Miller is, you know, I like him here. Welcome him to the lightweight division.
Yeah, fair enough. He's welcoming him to the division. So, Effie, are you on the same side? Do you differ? What do you think?
I'm picking Jim Miller in this fight, man. I don't know if I'm going to get to the window, though. Dogger pass as far as betting-wise, for sure, for me on this fight. Never want to pay juice on Damon Jackson, man. I remember when I had money on Pat Sabatini, and he went out there and finishes him. And then right after the fight ends, like, I think it was like Anik or DC's like, and, you know, his brother just passed, and I had no idea. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, what? I didn't know that. Like, I would have fucking bet against him if I knew that. But, yeah, man, I think he's weak to the body. I think that chin, that durability is questionable here. I think that Jim Miller is clean enough in tight in the pockets to land something big here and even shoot some takedowns in this fight. I know Damon's a good grappler, super long, super kind of awkward on the mat. But I wouldn't be shocked to see Jim, at least at some point in this fight, try to wrestle. He was getting lit up by Bobby Green, but I mean, both these guys, low-key, got kind of worked in their last fights real bad. So it's interesting that they're fighting each other here. So, I mean, I don't know. Don't feel too, you know, eager to bet this fight. For my pick, I'm picking Jim Miller, though. I wouldn't be shocked if he does sleep Damon Jackson in this fight.
All right, boys, here's the deal. Damon Jackson is legitimately one of my favorite fighters in the UFC. Like, he's literally number 3 on my list. Of all of the fighters in the UFC, Damon Jackson is number 3 for me. So I'm picking. I don't care who he's fighting. I'm picking him unless he's fighting like legitimately one of my two favorites. Which 145, 155, he could fight. You know, he could fight them. But
well, can I ask you who they are? Who are your favorites?
Yeah. So my favorite fighter in the UFC by a landslide is Julian Erosa. Like, I freaking love Julian Erosa. Favorite fighter.
UCJ.
Dude, he's amazing. Love that man. He's my favorite fighter. Number 2 is Drew Dober, but I also I've held pads for Drew plenty of times. Like we're not like close, but like close enough that I'd feel bad if he wasn't number 2. So and then just after Damon Jackson, you got Alex Caceres and Eryk Anders. So and Anders is also on this card, so I probably already know where I'm going with that. But either way, yeah, McPooperton knows what's up. He's got Anders down there. He's got Julian Erosa, the most random fit. I just like fighters that they just make fights wild. I like Caceres because the Ultimate Fighter, actually. He's the one that I like, not because of this like fighting style necessarily. Just when he was on the Ultimate Fighter, he was way too funny.
Why Anders?
Dude, okay. I was in attendance in August of 2018 when they were in Lincoln, Nebraska, when I thought he killed Tim Williams because it was amazing. First off, okay, go back and watch that fight. Tim Williams.
I remember it vividly. He
punts him.
There's like a round 3 like head kick as Williams is in like an awkward position.
Literally just getting off the ground. He straight punts his head like a damn football. It's amazing. That was the moment I'm like, dude, this guy's one of my favorite fighters. Like, when I interviewed Eryk Anders, I told him that too. I was like, dude, I was there. And what's crazy, Tim Williams' mom was sitting like 2 or 3 rows in front of me. And like, I'm going wild. Like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I'm like freaking out. And my buddy, he like taps me on the shoulder. He's like, hey, dude, like, I think that's Tim's mom. And I'm like, oh. But like, dude, it was so wild. Like, dude, Tim didn't move for ever. It was so, like, I thought he died. Thankfully he didn't, but he did retire. That retired him. That was like one of the sickest head kicks I've ever seen. So yeah, that's my Anders for sure. He's had some good fights since then, but that is definitely his best moment by like a landslide because it was so sick. But yeah, Juicy J is always number 1. So, there we go. But either way, I think the move up to 155 for Damon Jackson, because we're actually going to talk about the fight, I suppose. I probably should, rather than just gushing over my favorite fighters. The move up to 155 is good for him. That weight cut was killing Jackson. And I think the final straw was when dude makes weight against Chepe, and then Chepe misses weight and then acts like has the stones to just like shit all over Damon Jackson after that. And I was like, dude, what is your, like, you sack of garbage. Like, I don't like Chepe now. So like going forward, that sucks. Like I have to just dislike this guy because he's a sack of garbage, but maybe he's not, maybe he's a nice guy, but I'm bitter about this. Cause he knew Damon was going to try to wrestle him. And when you miss weight, don't have to make that cut, and then you have the extra weight on you, it's way harder to wrestle somebody. It's so much harder to take somebody down when they got that extra weight. So yeah, either way, whatever. I'm not saying it would have turned out different, but maybe it would have. But yeah, Damon's my boy. I'm picking Damon here, regardless of like a breakdown or anything. So there you go. I like Jim Miller. Don't get me wrong. Just like, Damon's my guy. So we got it. We got what? Mike's next. All right, break it down for me, brother.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to add here. I'm not insane about this fight. Striking, I give to Miller, at least up close. Jackson's got some decent stuff at range, that front kick. It's nothing special, though. Low output. Miller hits a lot harder. I think Miller might knock him out. I think he might knock him out early. While you guys were talking, I just pulled it up. Bet Rivers has Jim Miller knockout round 1 at plus 1050, which is kind of nice. I feel like I might end up putting a little bit on that. So I'm thinking about that. Might lay a tiny bit. And I'm also thinking about Jackson decision. It's like plus 170 on Bet Rivers right now because I do think realistically he's actually going to be able to get takedowns. I feel like Miller can be taken down at least at this point of his career. Not many people are doing it, but like Ghost Pepper did it, blanking who else, but he's getting taken down. Pichel did it when they fought. Pichel's a pretty good grappler too, though. But regardless, Miller can be taken down. Jackson's going to be pretty big, even at lightweight. I don't think he's going to look small. He's a big dude, big frame. It's taller than Miller. So I think the physicality will be fine. I think he'll be able to get takedowns. I don't think he's going to sub Miller, but I think he can win minutes. And that's really all it comes down to. I think his gas tank is not great, but I think it's better than Miller's at this point of Miller's career. And if I knew that Miller would come out here and try to maybe get his own takedowns, I'd probably be interested on the Miller side because he can probably get them too if he goes for it. He just doesn't really do it anymore. That's just not really his game. He'll go to it like in the Benitez fight late, but he's not really doing it. So I'll pick Jackson with very little conviction. For me, it's either Miller knocks him out early or Jackson wins a decision. And I kind of think Jackson wins a decision.
Yeah. I mean, for my sake, I hope so, because I also don't want to see Jim Miller just get run through. So like,
do you bet on the fighters that you like?
So I actually really try not to.
I don't let myself.
I do sometimes. Like if I'm looking at it and I'm like, so I bet on Erosa in his last fight because it was just the line was wrong.
That was a nice spot though, yeah.
Yeah. So but like I try not to because for a while there it was costing me money because I was like way too biased. And then like I tried the whole like, well, I'll just bet on the other side, so I'm happy either way. Well, that doesn't work, and I'm just upset either way. So it doesn't actually make me happy either way. But no, so like I try not to. Like I'm not gonna bet on this one. I want to really bad, but like I'm not going to. So I'm tempted to bet on we'll get to that fight in a little bit. We'll get to it in a little bit. But shout out to Orlando. What's up? You know what's up. 2 more sleeps. We're getting there. We're almost there. And McPooperton is betting on his favorite fighter 100% of the time. Doesn't care. I get it. So I do bet on outside of the UFC. I do bet on like either my like favorites or people that I like know personally way more than I probably should. But I don't always bet on them to win. But like since I know them personally, I kind of know whether they're going to win or not. But my dude, I interviewed him a while back.
Pretty sure that's illegal,
bro.
Dude.
Like your homie gets knocked out, you're like, dude, the money was good, man. Like,
Dude,
the money
yeah,
was good.
okay.
The
So
KO prop was good. Sorry.
Thankfully, I haven't had to bet against a buddy in a little while because Carlos Trinidad Snake has been he's just printing money for me over in BKFC. Like, dude, just printing money. Like, he was minus 200 in this last one, but like, it was free. It was a free minus 200. Like, dude's legit, and they're like, he should be like minus 600 against these guys, and they're just like, there you go, and like put him in there like minus 200, minus 150 or something, and like he's beating these guys senseless. So it is nice to be able to bet on the like guys that, but then like sometimes I'm not gonna say his name because I bet against him, but like I knew a guy that was fighting on LFA the other day, or not the other day, it was like a couple months ago. I was like, this dude's about to get wrecked. So I just like backed up the bank account on the other guy, or as much as they'd let me bet on an LFA fight, but you know what I mean. It was like a free square. So, but either way, I try not to bet on my favorite fighters in the UFC because I know I'm biased. But when you know someone personally, it's a different story because you know if they're going to win or not. Because like it hits you different in the heart. You're like, oh, I know if that guy's going to win or lose. Let's see. That was everybody on that one. Great. So let's move on because we were getting sick. Here we go. We got Anders Weidman next. Back to back. Let's freaking go. And I believe Effie's kicking this one off. So this is going to be great. Who do you got in this one? And tell me why it's my favorite fighter.
Yeah, so you won't have to, or at least I don't have to worry about betting on fighters I like here because I hate Chris Weidman now. Listen,
Serious.
I know the eye pokes and everything. Eye poke champion of the world last fight. I know that's like a big deal. But dude, like before the eye poke, so he's looking good. Like he actually looked good in that fight, way better than I thought he would, especially considering his last fight before that, where he got his leg chopped off. So in a way, other than the eye pokes, I mean, they're a big deal and obviously affected the fight. Like I was kind of impressed in Chris Weidman in his last fight. And in this fight, I think that he can give Eryk Honors a good fight, man. I think that Eryk Honors here at chalk is something that I don't want a part of, but I am picking him to win. I think that there is some value on Chris Weidman via decision in this fight, though. I think he can outstrike Eryk Honors. Obviously, we know about his wrestling, but I do think that Eryk Honors being the younger guy and competent in his own right, man, like with the grappling, I think he can defend these takedowns, at least stall him and get him to the cage, and just try to reverse from there. But I expect a lot of this fight to take place on the cage. I expect, obviously, Chris to try to wrestle at some point. But I'm going with Anders decision. But, man, like, I wouldn't be shocked if Chris Weidman ends up looking quite good in this fight.
Fair enough. He's on your boy. That's what we need. I mean, you know who I was going to pick. But I honestly think Eric's bringing back the punt. I think he's going to. Because now, if your hands are on the mat, you're not down. And Eric's that kind of guy. Like that dude will he just lets it fly. We also saw him do that to Darren Stewart, but that was against the rules, and it got turned to a no contest because of it. Dude will just throw him, and like now he's allowed to just throw him. So my boy's about to punt off Chris Weidman's head, and then somebody in the crowd's going to take it home with him like they caught a fly ball. I made a baseball reference. That's actually really impressive. I'm like feeling good right now. I'm on one today. Okay, like as they would say. Either way. Yeah, no, dude. Okay, here's what I gotta ask. Somebody in the chat, maybe somebody on the panel can give me this. Who gets more eye pokes? Successfully lands more eye pokes? John Jones or Chris Weidman on this one?
Jones.
And then what's the line? Like how do we line that? Like on who gets more? But yeah, I think Eryk Anders is gonna punt Chris Weidman's head off. That's my pick. And yeah, if anybody's got like a line for that, they can throw it out. But otherwise, we'll jump right to Couch. Couch is on it. He knows a line for that for eye pokes.
I'm working on it. So I'm thinking if you let them fight 10 times, different opponents, John probably gets more eye pokes in, I don't know, 7 out of 10 fights. So 70% implied probability gives you minus 233 on the money line.
Whoa.
So yeah, minus 230. John Jones gets more eye pokes. Makes sense to me.
So, and the thing you got to count before too is like Jones is going to get 5 rounders, whereas Weidman's usually getting 3 rounders these days.
It's the hand fighting for me. He hand fights. That's why he keeps poking.
When he does this a lot,
Chris is getting like double eye pokes though, like 2 for 1 on 1. Like it's crazy.
Does the 1-2 eye poke count as 2? That counts as 2, right?
I don't know. That falls to the stats guys. But yeah, for my breakdown for this fight, I don't know how I feel. I mean, I passed on Weidman early when he was like a pretty big underdog, and I know a lot of people who are on Weidman, like a lot of people, and I can understand it, but I hesitated and I taped it, and I probably would have played it, but I'm not sad that I didn't. Like, I really don't know. Weidman could. I think Weidman will beat him. I do think he'll beat him. I think Weidman's a better striker. I think Weidman hits harder. And you look at Anders recently, you know, you watch the Pickett fight, right? And Pickett's actually able to land some nice counters there. And Anders starts shooting after Pickett starts landing those counters. And he kind of uses it as a backup. He's not going to really have that here. I don't see him taking down Weidman. I don't think that's going to be an easy thing to do. So I don't think that's going to be much of an option. He's going to have to outstrike Weidman the entire time. Meanwhile, Weidman, I think, could get his own takedowns if he goes for them. He's not as explosive as he used to be, but he can still wrestle, I think. So I think that'll still be a path for him. And then on the feet, I think he hits harder. And Anders is going to be faster, surprisingly. He's not usually faster than anybody. He's definitely going to be faster here, though. So honestly, I think we're probably just going to get 15 minutes of cage pushing. Realistically, I think that's what we're going to get. And anybody's guess. I want to do what Evan did earlier and say I don't feel like making a pick on this one, but I'll pick Weidman just based off of power, and he has more options with the wrestling.
Yeah. The one thing I didn't mention though is we're getting a sober Anders now. He's cleaned himself up a bit. He was struggling with some stuff for a bit there, so that could change some stuff too. He might look better in this fight than he has for a while, so that's good too. But what's Evan's take on this one? What do you got, man?
Yeah, I have no idea. I was in Atlantic City when Weidman abused Bruno Silva's eyes. I like Weidman. I root for Weidman. Eryk Anders, you know, he's fine too. I know you love him, dude. I don't know. I think a lot of cage push. I think Anders takedown defense is pretty good, honestly. And I think that Weidman is going to try to go to the wrestling because that's just what his instincts are. But I don't know that they're going to come easy. Like maybe he gets a takedown early when he's super fresh and his technique prevails. But I don't know that he's going to get multiple takedowns. So I do see this fight playing out along the cage a lot. And at distance, they're both pretty slow. It is southpaw versus orthodox. And I don't know. I just kind of see Weidman running into a left hand, kind of like in the Dom Reyes fight. Weidman's been knocked out 6 times now in his career. He's 40 years old. He's had a ton of injuries, knee, back, neck. Like he's just not the athlete he once was. So I kind of think that Anders is going to land a left hand and put him down. There's not a lot of happy endings in mixed martial arts. So I'm going back and forth. Like, you know, can Weidman get a dub here? Sure, he can. My lean is Anders. I'm going to take Anders by knockout.
Let's go. All right, I love it. That's what I want to hear. Most people are on Anders, and that makes me feel good because I'm rooting for my boy. So, okay, we move on to the next one, and it's a fight that has me running in circles. I really hate that I had to make a pick on this one. Jonathan Martinez versus Marcus McGhee. The reason that this fight is giving me so much trouble is because Jonathan Martinez is like, people were down on him after his last fight. He kind of underperformed in that one. But I mean, Aldo's still good, even though he's like approaching 40, he could be over 40 at this point because like we don't really know how old Aldo actually is. But I mean, Aldo's still pretty darn good at nearly 40. He's at least like 70% of the Aldo in his prime. And like, that's pretty impressive at this point. So I don't know if I hold that against him too much. And then Marcus McGhee's looked nothing short of incredible, but he hasn't fought nearly the level of Jonathan Martinez at this point. So it's like, I don't know. It's so tough to pick because realistically, Martinez has the skill set if he can survive an early onslaught, I could see him working a game plan, working the kicks to accumulation, things like that, and getting the win. But I can also see McGhee just not giving two cares at all about what Martinez is throwing, coming forward and just making it ugly early, and being able to do enough early on that it A, wins him the first round, and B, potentially gets him out of there, because like McGhee's he's a wrecking ball when he comes forward. He's defensively sound too, for the most part. I mean, he's going to get hit, like it's a fight, but he's like mostly defensively sound as he's coming forward. He's checking kicks and stuff. And like, this is like the hardest one to pick. I'm definitely not betting this fight. This fight would be the hardest one for me to like actually make a bet on. But I think what I'm going to do for a pick is take McGhee, because he's riding some really serious momentum, and momentum is a powerful thing. So we're gonna go with McGhee here. Real quick, I got a shout out. We got a new someone hopping in the chat for the first time tonight. We got Wes Boyer here. So what's up, Wes? Good to see you. Talking about the old gloves versus the new gloves and all that good stuff. Sounds like he said Dana does it for Jones, possibly. That was the thought. So I don't know, but we're really sure now.
Jones, at least originally.
Yeah, I think it originally was Jones, and I think Dana just maybe Jones whispered something in his ear, and that's why he's just like, you know what, screw it, we're just getting rid of him forever. But yeah, point is, I hate this fight as far as like making a pick. I think it's gonna be a great fight as far as from a fan's perspective. But once we start making content, we have to make picks, and our like reputation's on the line. All of a sudden, I don't like close fights anymore, and I want easy fights to pick where every time I know somebody's gonna win 100%. So it's kind of weird. I'm rooting against good matchups these days. I want easy picks, but either way, Couch, what do you got?
Yeah, so for me, I went with McGhee here. I was able to tape it in time before the line moved, at least for this one, and I caught him at -113 on FanDuel. I played him to win just about 2 units, 2.3 unit stake, so a tiny bit more. But for me, it really came down to like at Pick'em, I like McGhee. Even now, realistically, knowing myself, had I not bet that, I would probably still bet him at -130-ish. I just think he has more ways to win. That's really what it comes down to. I think that Martinez is a great striker. He's a great fighter. His leg kicks, obviously, everybody knows about them. That's part of the issue. Literally everybody knows. So his opponents are going to know. Yanez couldn't do a thing. I thought he'd be able to do more there, but obviously I did not think it would work on Aldo. I remember going into the Aldo fight, people were telling me that Martinez is going to leg kick him, and I'm just like, God help you, because that's not going to happen, but okay. It might work here to an extent, but I think that McGhee is going to know about it. And then with the hands, that's kind of my thing with Martinez. I feel like he doesn't use his hands enough. He's very kick heavy. And yeah, he'll mix targets with the kicks. He'll go from the legs and then go upstairs. But how about the hands? When he throws them, they're nice. Down the pipe, clean. He just doesn't really do it much. And his takedown defense is good. It has been very good at times. Like in the Zviad Lazashvili fight, he did really well. Didn't give up a single takedown. That guy was kind of underrated. Pretty good wrestler. He's getting taken down by good grapplers and usually people who also have some hands like Said Nurmagomedov. And I think McGhee, that's why I think McGhee will be able to get takedowns, because it's not going to be it's not going to be just one threat. You know, he's going to be a threat with the hands. I think McGhee with the hands is competitive with Martinez, just as good of a striker, maybe not with the kicking game, but with just pure hands. I think he's just as good. I think he hits harder. I trust him to throw more. And then because of the threat of the power upstairs, I think the takedowns are going to be more open. And because the takedowns are also going to be open, the upstairs might get open too. So he can mix it up. I like his grappling. I think he's a solid grappler offensively. The jiu-jitsu is pretty solid too. He's at a great camp, MMA lab. For bantamweights, I think that's probably one of the best places you can go. You're training with guys like Sean O'Malley, like McGhee, like Kyler Phillips, like Bautista. Just a killer's room. I think Carpenter's there too, if I'm not mistaken. 125, but similar weight class. So yeah, at a close line, I do like McGhee. I understand why people might like Martinez. He's fought much better competition, and if the leg kicks work, he might be onto something. But if you're betting Martinez, you're betting on like a very specific thing. Like you need him to implement the leg kicks. You need him to take away the base from McGhee, and then you need him to outstrike him. With McGhee, he can knock him out because Martinez can be chinned. He can outstrike him and out grapple him to a decision, and he can probably not, but he can possibly sub him. So I like McGhee.
Fair enough. Fair enough. So far, 2 people on McGhee. Evan, how are you seeing this one?
I have 4 units on Marcus McGhee's money line. I had 2 units around like minus 115, and then it kind of ballooned out to like the minus 150 range, and then it came back in, and I got another 2 units down at like minus 130. So 4 units. So obviously, it's my biggest bet of the card. It's a big bet, multi-unit play. I always bet against Jonathan Martinez. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But like obviously, I was on Aldo, but I was also on Said Nurmagomedov, and I do believe that Said Nurmagomedov won that fight. Was it a good bet at minus 200? Probably not. But just to think back and reflect, I went to like the MMA decisions to see like how did the media score that fight, because I scored it for Said, and it was 14-3. 3 media members gave it to Martinez. He won a unanimous decision, 29-28 on all cards. Like we see this shit all the time. So literally Martinez won that fight because Said gasses, and then Martinez just put him against the cage and like maybe landed a flurry at the end of the round. But if you look at the metrics in that fight, like, dude, he did not win that fight. So where they like Martinez is, I think the Adrian Yanez win, it's a good win. Now he debilitated him with leg kicks. You're Adrian Yanez, he's a small guy for the division. You have 12 weeks to basically prepare for leg kicks, and you show up completely unprepared to fucking defend leg kicks. It was like totally insane to me. But obviously, so leg kicks, it's a very like high variance thing. Some guys just can defend them or eat them, but act like it doesn't hurt. Other guys, it's just completely debilitating. And when Martinez can debilitate you with his leg kicks, he can look like a massive favorite. That's the only way he can really look like a massive favorite. He hardly throws his hands. I don't think he has bad hands. He's just a kick-first striker. Is he going to wrestle offensively? No. Is he going to defend takedowns? He defends at a decent rate, but he can be taken down. He can be chinned. He's also a guy who was one of these Factory X guys, and that gym kind of like fell apart, and now he's running his own training camp down in Texas. He's a guy who struggled with discipline when he was, had coaches and things like that, and he would miss weight multiple times. I don't think that this whole Factory X, disassembling is bullish for Jonathan Martinez. I think he struggles with discipline. Marcus McGhee obviously is 34 years old. He hasn't fought a high-level competition in the UFC, but he submitted Journey Newsom easily, who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Took his back, choked him out, easy, piece of cake. Knocked out JP Buys, whatever. And then boxed the ears off of Gaston Bolanos, who just got a win, last week in the UFC. He was a good striker, professional kickboxer, credentialed kickboxer, boxed his ears off. So he's out striking strikers. He's out grappling black belts. I think that he's multiple paths to victory here. I think he's durable. I don't know. Is 4 unit staked is a lot. And that's kind of, again, this is what I do. I fade Jonathan Martinez. And I think McGhee is, despite him being 34 at bantamweight, I get it. I just think that things are there's a lot of things working in his favor here. I think he can hurt Martinez on the feet. I think he's the better boxer. And I think you got to project him to get 1 to 2 takedowns. So I like him to win the fight. And I think there's value at the current price.
You really sold me on that. So I went from being like, man, I hate that I have to make a pick on this, to feeling pretty good about picking McGhee. So that's good to hear.
Well, yeah, another thing, people talk about Jonathan Martinez's like strength of schedule, and which, yeah, he has fought the higher level of competition. I do not believe he beat Said Nurmagomedov, but that shows as a win. So, who has he beat? Yanez, I'm going to give him 100% the credit for that win. Great win. Looked great. Looked phenomenal. Kicks were great. Cub Swanson, again, ate a couple kicks and just couldn't compete after, eating a couple kicks. Like Cub Swanson's kind of guy, he's at the point in his career where like everything hurts. You land to the body, it hurts. You land in the head, it hurts. Legs hurt. Vince Morales, I don't care. Alejandro Perez, Ziad Lazivishvili, lost to Andre Ewell, got chin knocked out bad by Davey Grant. It's like, all right, I think people are overrating his strength of schedule because he's been in the UFC for so long. I mean, I'm going to give him the Yanez win. To me, that's a really good win. That's the only really good win I see. And I think that Marcus McGhee beats most of the guys that he's beat. Loses to Aldo, Grant, again, Andre Ewell, Andre Sukumtoth. Again, we're going back several years now, but he's just a very beatable guy. So I think his strength of schedule is a little overrated. Yeah. Just really the Yanez win was a good win, in my opinion. And Saeed shows us a good win. He didn't win that fight, so I like McGhee.
He didn't win that fight. I'm with you. I had money on Saeed too, though, so I might be biased, but I thought Saeed won that fight. But either way, I do have to say that I do feel for Martinez a little bit in the fact that my coach used to always yell at me for throwing too many kicks and not enough punches. So I'm with him on that one. But so us kick-heavy fighters got to stick together. Effie, what do you got on this one, man?
Yeah, it's going to be a sweep. Marcus McGhee is a pick for me as well. I like when you kind of know what a fighter is going to do. Well, we basically know Jonathan Martinez is going to go in there and try and rip this dude's leg off. Like, we already know he's going to need to kick. Like Couch said, like if you're betting on him, you're pretty much betting on him to have success with those kicks. Because if he doesn't, it's going to look pretty bad, in my opinion. Evan said it too. Like he doesn't really throw his hands a lot enough, and it's not like he has bad striking. He's just a little square, a little bit stiff, in my opinion. But he just doesn't let him go. It's kind of awkward to see him fight like that. A kick first striker is a perfect way to describe him because he needs to get those off. I mean, obviously, if you get debilitated, there's really nothing you can do, right? Like you have to switch stances and you're open right away for the other inside leg kick there. So it is dangerous. It's kind of a weird thing to deal with. But dude, Marcus, 34 years old, has to get it going here soon. Perfect fight here to do that. I think with the amount of times that Jonathan has to throw those kicks, like you can get countered so easily. Just a straight right, down the pipe, puts him down. Doesn't even have to land clean, just get him off balance. I think that the opportunity is there for Marcus, and I wouldn't be shocked to see him out-grapple him in this fight either. I think that wrestling room he comes from is very good. That grappling room is very good, and I think he'll be ready, man. So pay-per-view spot here. He's getting the push. Give me Marcus McGhee as well.
Love it. I'm so glad we're all on the same side. This is really good here. So that makes you feel better about the pick. We can move on to the next one. It's actually a catch weight of 165, which I don't know if that changes anything for anybody as far as their belief in the fight. Mauricio Huffy takes on, or Huffy, I guess Huffy maybe, takes on Hafez Llontop. And I don't know. I think it's a catch weight because Llontop's taken it on short notice. I didn't hear that.
I heard it was on the Ruffy side.
Really?
But my sources aren't great. It's just due to my Discord. So
I was just assuming that because it was short notice.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
The other guy.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, we had like one guy say it was Ruffy, but I didn't look at it much.
Interesting. Okay. Well, Couch, what do you think about this one? You are kicking it off, and you've dropped a bit of knowledge on me. So,
yeah, I mean, look, I think the line's kind of crazy. People are getting really we're paying like a fight nerds tax now because they're just good. So everyone just assumes they're going to beat everybody, and now they're minus 900 against pretty good fighters. I mean, we just saw James go pretty much shot for shot with Slava Borshev, who's an elite striker, like legitimately an elite striker who also hits incredibly hard and is very fast. And he lost that fight, but he was competitive. Don't think he's going to win this one, but I think the line's pretty crazy. He's going to throw more than Ruffy. That realistically, like Ruffy most of the time is a slow starter, low output guy. That's how he's always been outside of that last fight with Malarkey. Like going into the Contender Series, a lot of us were on him there. He was losing that fight against a wrestler. He was losing that fight, and then he got the finish late, and it was awesome. It was great. It felt really good to cash that ticket. But realistically speaking, he's very clean. Yes, he's powerful. Yes, he's very creative, but he's low output, and he often looks to counter too much rather than lead. So those can be issues. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if Llontop came out here and had some opportunities, had some minutes, because he will throw more. He will keep coming forward. He's a solid striker in his own right. Not the same level, but he's good too. And it's not like Ruffy's going to come out here and grapple him because Llontop's terrible on the ground, but Ruffy's not going to grapple. And Llontop can try, but Ruffy has really good takedown defense, so I don't think that's going to help him. So, look, long story short, I think Ruffy wins, but I think that the overs are the way to go. I played Ruffy round 3 decision. I kind of like that spot. I got it at plus 110 on DraftKings. I kind of thought I'd get better because of all this hype on Ruffy and everybody thinking he's going to knock Llontop out. But I liked it enough to play it. I considered also playing the fight goes at plus 175. I think that's also a good way to do it. because then you get covered too. If Ruffy just drops the ball and spends the fight counter striking and Llontop pulls off an upset, then you still cash. So I thought about that too. I ended up just taking the round 3 decision Ruffy because maybe he does get a finish late. But I think overall, like, Llontop is very durable. He's a very durable guy. And the Slava fight really sold me on that. Slava hits hard, and he took those shots. And Ruffy hits hard too. Maybe he will knock him out early, but I think most of the time this fight's going to go over. I think it's probably going to go the distance. But if you're going to bet it, I like either the fight goes or Ruffy round 3 decision.
Has anybody got a current line on the over 1.5?
I can check.
Yeah, I haven't looked at that actually.
Minus 175.
It's too much, because then what if you're wrong and then the aura of Ruffy pulls through and then he just gets another highlight and then you just lost almost 2 units trying to win one.
Yeah, and that's a little risky, especially that's gonna be a sweaty over 1.5. Evan, what do you think on this one, man?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, kind of good point about the Fighting Nerds tax. I like Hamis Llontop. I do. I think that he did compete well with Slava Claus. He doesn't have any power in his hands, though. But he's also never been knocked out. But I've seen him hurt. I wouldn't be shocked if Mauricio, Ruffy just put him out. I don't know. Again, I think everything is – I don't think that Llontop has enough to win this fight. He's got more volume, but he's pretty hittable, and I think he's going to get hit much harder. So I don't know. I mean, I get that the 1.5 angle, but if you're going to take the over 1.5, I mean, the GTD is
plus 175 is much nicer.
I think that's way better than the over 1.5. That's what I would play. So I'll take I do think that Ruffy knocks him out. I do think so. So I'm going to take like second round knockout, Mauricio Huffy.
Third round, Evan. Third round. I have round 3 decision, bro.
Oh, my bad. I'm going to pee real quick. I'll be right back.
Cool. Effie, what about you, man? What do you think?
Yeah, man. Well, going with Ruffy here. But Llontop, dude, there's way worse fighters at plus 600 than Llontop. Like, he's not bad. Like, he's not like a horrible scrub. And I feel like, you know, this guy's getting a ton of hype because obviously the gym he's from, and obviously his like highlight reel, like, but man, like Malarkey, knocking out Malarkey or working Malarkey like the way he did, like, does he deserve to be minus 1,000, you know, in his next fight? And it's kind of funny. Like, I want to like pat myself on the back. I remember when I watched the guy fight, I was like, this guy kind of reminds me of Conor. Now everyone's saying that he fights like Conor McGregor. I'm like, oh hell yeah, I wasn't the only one that kind of thought that. He does have that upright kind of like Couch said, like that counter striker kind of stance. Waits for you to go in and he snipes you clean. But he's dangerous, man. There's no doubt about it. He's dangerous. He knows what he's doing on the feet. Super fast. But I wouldn't be shocked to see him spend, you know, a lot of this fight on the back foot until he lands that clean shot. I think once he starts to land on James, it's going to be, you know, going like a downhill slope for him. So going with Ruffy. I was going to say round 2 knockout, but I'll go round 3 for Couch here.
Yes.
I love the support there, Effie. That's great. So two things in this one that really like need to be mentioned. And the biggest missed opportunity on the Ruffy side is that his name isn't Mauricio the date rape drug Ruffy, because it would be absolutely perfect.
Oh my god.
I mean, I don't know. It is, but in addition to that, I had to fight the urge to just to like want to fade Ruffy really bad once everybody started calling him the Brazilian McGregor, like after that last fight. And I was just like, that makes me, anytime somebody is like, oh, they're this version of this guy, it makes me just think that they're gonna be horrible. And that, because like,
remember the Japanese Conor McGregor?
Yeah, like you can't be like the whatever version of someone else. You're gonna be bad. It's not gonna be good. So yeah, but I do think he wins. I think he wins at a pretty high clip. I think a lot of people have mentioned the Borshev fight, about Borshev being a really good striker and this, that, and the other. And like, I understand that in a kickboxing fight, Borshev's a great striker, but he hasn't shown that he's a great striker necessarily in an MMA fight as he's moved up the ladder. He did early when he was fighting guys that weren't that good. but like, I mean, he did get dropped by Chase Hooper. So, I mean, like, don't tell me he's like an amazing striker.
That's a chin thing. In
Yeah,
terms
but
of
like,
skill-wise, why isn't he an elite striker?
if you're that good of a striker, you shouldn't even be getting hit by a guy like Chase Hooper because his striking's not that fast or clean or anything. Like, if you're that legit,
that's
like
a defense thing, and he did get caught off guard. I mean, who expected Chase Hooper to land a big?
Slava Claus did some shit against Nazim Sadikov before he got hurt by Sadikov. That was like shit that you don't really see. Like some of these counters, I would agree that he's an elite striker. He's just doesn't have the durability anymore.
And once you add the threat of the grappling in, it kind of falls out too. So it's like with anybody. It's like, why do you think, these like wrestlers can outbox some of the like high level strikers? It's because they're afraid of getting taken down. It's like,
I mean, think about Habib landing that overhand against Conor, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
You're so worried about, God, I don't want to get taken down. That it's just like your chin is there.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Borshev's an elite striker for striking, but in MMA, sometimes it's not like it doesn't look as good. Don't get me wrong; he's very good, he's very skilled, but yeah, I think Llontop is tough, and I think he's going to go late in this fight. I think he's going to eat a lot of shots. I think that it could go to decision, but I think he's going to get dropped multiple times. I think even if the volume is on the Llontop side, I think the rounds are still going to be clear the other way. So I'm taking Ruffy, the date rape drug. Let's go with that. Mauricio, the date rape drug. Ruffy is going to get the win by putting him to sleep and probably doing foul things to Llontop in the third round. So that just got really weird. I don't know. I think it's a perfect name and he's missed the opportunity. But we can move on. We had a really good fight coming up next. Fun one. A couple of Brazilian ladies getting after it. Karine Silva taking on Viviane Araujo. I believe Evan's kicking this one off. So why don't we get into this fight so we can stop talking about date rape drugs? This got weird.
Yeah. So I have not bet this fight yet, but I am plotting something. This could be my third money line bet. I have two bets so far, two money lines. So I took McGhee, kind of big, and then I took the 1.5 unit stab on Bassil Hafez. So this would be similar to the Hafez logic. Like plus 240 is just too much, in my opinion. So, like, all right, I take Bassil Hafez as a value bet. Well, is he a value loser, whatever? The whole term value means like over time, you should come out in profit. So in this case, I look at Hafez plus 240, 29% implied. Doesn't make any sense to me. I also, the same concept with Viviane Araujo, 29% implied. I think one of them probably wins their fight. So same stake. I just feel pretty good. And again, maybe they both fucking lose and plus EV losers this time, but it's the process that over time should come out ahead. I don't know what's going to happen here. I played Ariane Lipski against Karine Silva. It wasn't a great bet. This was one of those ones where Pepe Silva and I were head to head, and he got me on this one. He was right about Karine Silva.
No tattoo bet that time?
That was not a tattoo bet. No, that was a Diego Lopez.
I can't believe you guys did that.
One. Yeah. Well, we've had some, pretty epic head-to-head banter. In this case, I was on the losing end. And I still felt like Ariane Lipski competed really well despite getting out-grappled and taken down multiple times. And, it was good to see Karine Silva go 3 rounds because that was one of my biggest gripes on her tape was like she's just running through these girls who suck early. And Lipski's going to be there probably and to extend this fight, but she just didn't have enough. Like if she stuffed that extra takedown in the third round, things could have gotten interesting. But we just saw what happened to Ariane Lipski against Jasmine Jasudavicius. She got absolutely ran over on the ground. So in this case, you got Viviane Araujo, WMA big underdog here, who's 37, 38 years old. Like chick is getting up there, but she has good takedown defense. She's physical. I think that she can match Karine Silva's physicality. I think she's a good boxer. I think Silva hits hard, but low volume. You know what I mean? I think that this is going to be competitive, and I think that I'm going to bet Vivi. I don't know if plus 240 is the time to bet it. I don't know if that's the best of the number. I alluded to the steam chasing earlier, and like sometimes these numbers just blow out on fight day, and it's a big card, a lot of parlay squares out there. Like, I don't know where this number goes, but to me, there's value on plus 240. I'm going to take Vivi to win a decision here, and just kind of outbox her and stuff some takedowns and stay in her face. I mean, she fought Alexa Grasso pretty competitively over 5 rounds. You know what I mean? I think she's got skills, and I don't think that Karine Silva is really going to get her game going here, because I think Vivi can match her physicality and stuff some takedowns. So I like Vivi. Give me Vivi. Let's go. Let's fucking go. Plus EV losers.
Let's go. All right. He's on Vivi. Effie, can you give a counterpoint, or are you on the same side? What do you got?
I'm on Silva, not on a bet though. I'm seeing her get around minus 300 now, and that definitely scares me. Fight ends in split. Another one, a girls' fight. I think it's going to go to the decision. I can see it being close. Wouldn't be shocked to see two judges see it a different way here. With Silva, I think that I actually disagree with Evan. I think that she is the more physical girl. I think that if both these girls went to the gym and lifted next to me, Silva would be putting up a little bit more weight on the lifts there. But just in the clinch, like I feel like Silva will be able to be the one reversing and getting better positions. I feel like that happens a lot in women's MMA, a lot of cage pushing, but on the feet, strike for strike, I feel like it's going to be pretty close. Maybe a slight speed advantage to Silva. But Viviane's experienced, man. She's not a slouch, And it is kind of weird to see Lipsky look so bad with her takedown defense against Jasmine now. It kind of makes me wonder if Silva really is, that good at, getting girls down or anything. But yeah, man, Vivi, 37 years old. I feel like a lot of money's going to be coming in on Silva late. Really good point by Evan. So if you are going to bet Vivi, probably wait. She's going to be in a bunch of parlays. A lot of people are going to see this girl being so old and like, I'm going to take the Brazilian girl that looks like she's on roids. I'm picking Silva decision. Wouldn't be shocked to see it go to split.
Fair enough. Two things. First thing, you guys both mentioned the Jasmine fight, so I got to mention it a little bit. I would bet Jasmine over either of these girls, and pretty heavily, honestly. So, I don't think it's really a shame for Lipsky to get ragdolled by Jasmine. I think Jasovicius ragdolls both of these girls. I think after the first round, she just starts ground and pounding the heck out of them. So, there's no shame in losing that way. So, but the other question, and this one's for you, Effie, because you mentioned if they were next to you in the weight room, do you think single rep max you could out squat both of these or either of these girls?
I would say I would do at least one. Yeah, give me Vivi.
That's all right.
Give me Vivi on the squat. Silva probably wouldn't have shocked me if she's squatting, close to 400 pounds. But
I bet, dude. I bet
it's pretty thick. So,
dude, seriously,
I follow Norma Dumont on Instagram. Dude, she's in the gym every day.
Dude,
every day is leg day for Norma Dumont. I mean, you guys can tell, but
yeah, who's that surprising?
Big old Latino booty. But yeah, man, no, give me a one-on-one with Vivi. I'll show her what's up.
McPooperton, stop skipping leg day, dude. You shouldn't bench
That's
more
funny.
than you squat.
How's that possible?
Dude, unless you have so I don't have a meniscus in my left knee, so I don't squat super high right now. But other than that, that's you should squat more. You should squat more than you bench. That's definite. But you got to work on that, brother. Don't skip leg day. Leg days for casuals. Get out of here, my dude. I'm just kidding. Don't leave. You're my friend. Stay. But let's break down this fight. I think Silva's getting it done. I think she's more physical. I think she wins the third round at a high clip. First round could go either way, but I think partway through the second round, and since the judges kind of only see the last 10 seconds of the round most of the time anyway, I think Silva's getting the last 2 rounds. But something that so I was watching Wager Wars on my buddy Cody's channel, and it was Couch's buddy Dogfather on there. I don't remember who brought it up originally, but somebody mentioned that Karine Silva by split decision was plus 1,000. And I'm not going to track a bet like that, but I definitely threw $10 on that, just on the side.
Bet online?
Yeah. I don't know if it's still there. This was Monday or Tuesday, but
I highly doubt it.
I doubt it's still there. But Karine Silva to win by split decision was plus 1,000. I was like, that's a $10, just for fun bet. That hits. All right. But because I do think it's possible to get a split, because I can definitely see it being one of those fights where the cutoff point is right down the middle in the second round. And I think Karine wins the third round at a high clip. First round could go either way. Second round could go either way. But say one judge confidently gives the first 2 rounds to Araujo, there you go. It's right there. You got a split potentially. So yeah, I'm thinking Silva probably by decision. Could she finish her in the third? Yeah, but it's not super likely. I'm rooting for a Karine Silva split decision. So, that's what I'm thinking. Couch, I guess, what do you get on this one? Anything different?
So before I go, real quick,
Yeah.
I pulled it up. It is indeed still plus 1,000 Silva by this split. But get this, Vivi's plus 750.
Yeah, they mentioned that too, which is
how does that make any sense?
Doesn't make any sense.
But the decision prop, Vivi decision is plus 265, Karine is plus 105. So then why do you give Karine plus 1,000? I mean, as I'll explain shortly, I'm on Vivi as well, and I'm glad we have Evan on the show.
Oh, there you
so
go.
I'm not the only guy. But I am going to play this prop right now while we're talking because that's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Well, while you're playing that real quick, I want to shout out McPooperton for becoming a YouTube channel member. As some of you know, people that watch my videos, the YouTube channel members, the contributions that you guys make go directly to buying more markers and replacing the light bulbs in the YouTube studio. So you guys are heroes of the channel. Without you, I don't know what I would do. I'd run out of markers.
That's how he reinforces the steel.
It's how I reinforce the steel. That's right.
You got to show them the door one day, Tower. That's the best part of your house.
Dude,
this dude has a full-on zombie apocalypse Walking Dead door. Like that shit with the clamp down. Like,
dude, that's my whole house is like that. It's all like my whole house is made out of like legitimate like corrugated steel. I'm not kidding. All of it. Like the whole freaking thing, dude. It's legitimately bulletproof. Anything up to a 5.56 caliber round is not going through that. Like, I mean, like you shooting a 50 caliber, it's cutting through it like it's butter. But like, I mean, most civilian ammunition isn't going through it, and even like 5.56 is like, I mean, you're getting that in a lot of military grade weapons. So I mean, like, it's pretty solid. Like that sucker's not going, and it's corrugated too. So even if it does go through, I mean, the way that like it's like when people shoot through windshields. Because the windshield is like curved, when the bullet hits the windshield, it causes it to like go up slightly, so you're off on your aim. Corrugated being wavy like that, dude, like I'm set, man. If somebody starts shooting at me, I'll be shooting back at them and they'll be in trouble before that. You know what I mean? I'm waiting for this. We good.
We just went from a woman's flyweight fight to you telling us about corrugated metal and different kinds of guns.
Dude, I'm full of things, man. I got all sorts of stuff up here, brother. I'm just waiting for the revolution.
You're one of a kind. I'll be at your house during the apocalypse, bro. But
the hard part is going to be finding it. But yes, tell me about these women, though.
For the breakdown, I'm with Evan 100%. And Evan, if it makes you feel better, I already played it, so I got reverse CLV'd. So that's usually a good sign. I played plus 225.
You got to be patient, Mike.
I
know. I do the same shit, and I'm like, why did I bet it? You know what I mean?
Because sometimes I just think to myself that everybody's thinking like me. And I'm like, there's no way this makes sense. There's no way they're going to take her to minus 300. And then
sometimes you miss the line. But it seems like that's not happening now. It's like everyone's chasing the steam because so many fucking.
That term, I like what you've been saying with the steam chaser.
Yeah.
That shit's real now.
It's
like
been working.
Right before the fights start, the favorites just add another like 50 cents or some shit. Like it gets crazy. But yeah, I like Vivi here as an underdog. It's crazy odds. It's a big step up for Silva. McPooperton, I think you've had too many beers when you said that Silva's gonna. What was it? Karine takes over late.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna take over late. She's the one who gasses. She tires out. Look at the Lipsky fight. You watch the Lipsky fight, and how many times was Lipsky able to reverse position? She wasn't able to hold her down, and people also kind of forget, how about the Jan Quickie fight back on the Contender Series? Jan, 5'3", little stocky lady with terrible striking. First of all, it was landing way more than I would have liked. And then also 2 takedown attempts, 2 takedowns, she got them. Silva can be taken down too. She's scary if you take her down. She's got good jiu-jitsu, but so does Araujo. She's also a good grappler in her own right. So I'm not super worried about her being on top and getting subbed with something from bottom. I'm not super worried about that. And on top of that, she's got really good takedown defense. So if Silva got tired grappling Lipsky, who she was able to take down, but who scrambled a little bit, what's going to happen when she's grappling with Araujo and she can't get her down and she's not able to get those takedowns? She's probably going to gas even harder. And then on the feet, she's honestly a better striker than I ever remembered. Like, I'll give her credit. She's actually pretty nice with it. but I don't think she's leagues ahead of Araujo on the feet either. And she is more physical, but I don't think she necessarily hits harder. I think Araujo also hits very hard. So I don't understand the line at all. Like, I think that Silva should be a moderate favorite because she's bigger, more physical, younger. Is kind of on a tear, a very good finisher. But then when you break it down piece by piece, like, I don't see where she stands out outside of physicality and age here. So, and you're giving me Araujo at plus 240. And like Evan said, you can probably sit on this. It's probably going to get even wider. So you can probably get a nice line by the time the fight starts. I think it's a good spot.
I do think if you're going to play it, if you play it right before the fight starts, like you've been saying, like they jump up right before.
I always say I know when it's time to play the underdog when my brother calls me up and starts telling me his fucking 8-leg parlay with like minus 300s. That's when I know the lines are just about peaked. I'm like, all right, bro. I let him know what dogs I'm playing, and then I go play them because that's when I know.
And something I want to point out, Mike, you mentioned that you think everybody else is thinking like you. By this point, I think it's safe to say most people aren't thinking like you.
I don't think anybody does.
Very few. There are people out. Obviously, you and Evan are on the same page here, so there's at least some commonality there. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. I mean, okay, we can move on. But that's good. That's good. We've got probably. I think this is still the most wide line on the card. Bo Nickal, Paul Craig, I think is how you're supposed to say it, right? And I think Effie's kicking it off, so I want to hear you pronounce Mr. Craig's line or name on this one, if you could. So let me hear
it. Paul Craig, the Bear Jew. I mean, fuck, I can't. I'm sick right now, dude. I'm all stuffed up. Yeah, man. So I mean, I think it's kind of funny how Bo Nickal went to the UFC and was like, "Let me get the least dangerous person. Let me get Paul Craig." Yeah, man, Hodge Trophy winner, like huge. I'm a huge college wrestling fan. This guy is a beast, obviously. But man, like you go watch his career, like watch him get stuffed on a takedown against Val Woodward. Watch him get stuffed against Cody Brundage. Like if Val Woodward wasn't like fucking 4 feet tall, he would have slept Bo Nickal with like an overhand right at one point in that fight. It's kind of crazy. But I mean, dude, don't get it twisted. Like he's gonna be on top of Paul in this fight. Paul needs a submission. I think there's worse fights or bets to make than plus 600 on Paul Craig. I mean, it's getting wider now, right? Like plus 700 now. I mean, you throw like $5, $10 on it, some beer money on it. Like, I mean, if he gets a sub, he gets a sub. But for the most part, it's gonna be Bo Nickal on top. Bo Nickal passing his guard. Bo Nickal staying safe. Bo Nickal landing damage. As some ground pound in this fight. Wouldn't it be shocked at a Bo Nickal decision? Wouldn't it be shocked at a Bo Nickal knockout via ground and pound? On the feet, I don't think he's the best. He is a little bit quicker than you would think. Technique's a little bit weird, stiff. He has weird footwork. He like darts out. His feet aren't under him. He's green. Like there's no way around it. He's green, but he's getting up there in age. It's finally time to get a push here. I'm actually gonna go Bo Nickal decision here. I'm going Bo Nickal decision, but I mean I wouldn't be shocked to see Craig submit this guy, obviously, but I don't think he's gonna do it, man. He honestly doesn't really submit anyone that has any sort of grappling. He's submitting like strikers, some heavy dopes. Like it's not Bo Nickal. Bo Nickal is gonna be passing him here. So I know Bo Nickal got submitted by Gordon Ryan, but Paul Craig's not going Ryan. Give me Bo Nickal, man. Bo Nickal decision.
Dude, I'm surprised because I thought I was going to be the only one saying Bo Nickal decision. But no, dude, I think the same. And here's why. I think it's going to be one of those situations where Bo's going to crack Paul on the feet. And, like, dude's not going to want that because he wants to grapple. And if Bo doesn't shoot the takedown, Paul's just jumping guard. And, like, you don't care.
He's a guard puller, man.
Yeah.
The worst.
And I think he's dangerous enough, too, that, like, Bo's not going to just go wild with the ground and pound. He's, he'll have to mind his P's and Q's. I mean, dude, Paul Craig's got some of the craziest wins and losses for a guy in the UFC. He is the only fighter on the entire roster that I think can not only beat literally anyone, but also lose to literally anyone. There's nobody else on the roster like that. At least at like this like any given night, the guy could just win or lose to anybody. Because like I mean, there's flukes, but like this dude's shown multiple times that like you can't just fluke that many times. You know what I mean? Like it's legit at this point, but also like he can just get chinned by anybody or just like lay on his back and not do anything except for like throw up failed submissions for 3 rounds and then lose. So I'm going to take decision for Bo. I think he gets it done. Just not in the most exciting fight. I think the first round is going to be really exciting for a couple seconds here and there, but I don't think it's going to be super exciting past that. I think it's going to be a lot of Bo staying on top and just not being able to really get anything going, because every time he does, Paul's looking for something off his back. So yeah, Bo decision. That is like a line that's worth playing. I think some books have it at plus 900, which is legit. Yeah, decision. Yeah, that's right. Let's go right there. Mike, what do you think, brother?
So, I mean, nobody's coming up with the super hot take here. The hottest take you can do is say Bo by decision, and I think that's also a possibility. I'll talk about it in a sec. But, like, yeah, everybody understands the dynamic here. Paul Craig, dangerous off his back and sub everyone. You mentioned that he didn't sub any good grapplers on Kalaev. Hello.
Well, fuck. I mean, he subbed him 5 years ago. Now I was like, oh,
Still
fuck, this guy's a
happened.
great fucking
He
grappler.
said only.
No, I know. Yeah, I'll give you.
It
But, yeah,
can
I mean, obviously
happen.
him.
It's definitely a possibility. Not the worst beer money bet, like you guys said, to throw something on the Paul Craig sub. But I was looking at it and I was just thinking about it, how I think it's going to play out. And just watching the Barrio fight with Craig, I think that's what I think that's what Nickal's going to do. I think he's just going to strike with him. And then every time he knocks him down, if he's not totally dead, he's just going to let him back up. And then he's going to do it again and again until it's over. That's what I think is most likely. I think Bo Nickal's going to knock him out. I think he's going to strike with him for once. This is an opportunity for him to finally just show off his striking. There's no major threat coming your way. Even against Brundage, Woodburn, those guys at least hit hard. Craig's not a threat on the feet. You can finally stand out and do your striking, and I think he is going to do that. I think he's going to knock him out. But the second most likely thing, I think, is a decision, because I don't think he's going to sub him. And if he really tried, he could, but I don't think he's going to really try, because that's just too much risk. So if he wins and it's not a knockout, I think it's going to be a decision. I think it's just a mixture of maybe a little bit of hesitancy on the feet, and then he grapples him and then just doesn't do much with it, and you get to a decision. Sure. So what I did was I just used it as a parlay leg. I did exactly that. I did Bo Nickal by decision or knockout. I think it was like minus 190. And I thought it was a decent parlay piece. So that was my first leg of my parlay.
Is it still that?
It was on let me tell you what
book is that?
I can tell you. I think FanDuel off the top of my head, but I can tell you.
Because I gotta defend my crown over on Best Bet this Saturday, and like that might be like a bet. So
yeah, it was FanDuel.
Sick, dude. I'm doing that. That's on Best Bet this Saturday. Your boy might be giving that out as my spot now because of that. Awesome. Okay, Evan, what do you think, dude?
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. There's still a plus 900 by Bo, by decision on Bet365. You know, Bo's winning the fight. There's three ways he can win the fight. Is he subbing him? Is he knocking him out? Or is he winning by decision? I agree again with Mike. Keep agreeing with me, Mike, that I don't think it's going to be sub. I don't think it's impossible. Jimmy Crute subbed him, right? You know, I definitely think that Bo is capable of subbing him. I think that Paul Craig at this point in his career, and even at the press conference earlier today, he's talking about his jiu-jitsu this, jiu-jitsu that. I think he's going to make it a point to like work for submissions and like, oh my God, blah, 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 Scottish jiu-jitsu. I don't think he's going to, I don't think it's going to be easy to submit Paul Craig here is what I think. I think that he probably knocks him out. You know, the best knockout number I'm seeing, and I'm using the Fight Numbers Fight Prop Finder, which is a phenomenal tool. I still use it all the time. Best knockout number I see for Bo Nickal right now is minus 124 in Unibet. If you take that and then the plus 900, if you guys have multiple books on Bet365, like for by decision, KO or decision. Now, KO, I just pulled up FanDuel because they have the double chance. You can bet in one click, you know, rather than have to Dutch it. It's minus 190. So I think you could probably get a little bit better number than that if you shop around for the best prices. But I definitely think it's Bo KO or decision. I think he knocks him out. But if I just bet Bo by knockout at fucking minus 130 and he wins a decision and I pass up on the plus 900, I'll feel like a total asshole. So I'm just gonna play knockout or decision, whether I want to Dutch it with multiple books or just take the minus 190 on FanDuel. I feel like that's pretty good. So let's go.
I like that.
I agree, though. I think he's going to stay. I think he's going to keep it standing. I think if there's a guy to test your striking against and get some minutes on the feet in the cage, it's fucking Paul Craig.
I can't think of a better guy.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
Fucking Ramiz Brahimaj.
Oh, okay. Yep. But like in this division. But yeah.
But then you at least have to worry about a takedown threat. Craig's not taking down anybody.
Yeah.
He's literally just a punching bag.
You only got to worry about a Ramiz takedown threat for 3 minutes, but either way. After that, dude, he's done. Okay. We can move. We got the co-main event. Oh, sick. I got to start this one off. This is actually great because I'm not certain. I feel pretty good that I'm going to be completely opposite of everybody. So, yeah. Boys, give me Chandler. Yeah, I think he's going to do it. I think he definitely has big potential to get this one done. And I think a lot of people are counting him out. That line makes me really I wasn't going to bet Chandler. I tried not to bet Chandler, but it's over plus 200, guys. I understand everybody loves Oliveira, and I get it. Oliveira's super fun to watch, but Chandler makes the slightest different decisions in that first fight, and Oliveira doesn't make it out of the first round. It's seconds away from being a TKO first round for Chandler. I think we could get some similar moments like that. I could also see Oliveira knocking out Chandler again. I don't know. He could sub Chandler, but if he subs him, I think it's really late. I don't think he subs. I don't think he subs him early. Or I think you're looking at rounds 4 and 5 for the sub. I got to take Chandler here to get this one done. I think he's going to be able to stay safe on top when he gets on top. I think he's going to land heavy shots on the feet because both of these guys are going to get dropped at some point, most likely. That's how they fight. Both guys like to fight like it's a head-on collision, and just that's the way they're going to do it. So, yeah, I'm going to take the guy that I think is going to be able to get the knockout first, and I'm going to go Chandler. And I understand that that's a very unpopular opinion this week. So let me know what you guys think. Couch, how are you handling this one?
I think I'm just gonna have to watch this one, to be honest. I can't hate on a Chandler play at all. I kind of thought about it too. I think he's a better striker. He has the offensive wrestling, and it's not like it's hard to take Charles down because he welcomes it. But you mentioned that you were a few different moments, and Chandler would have won that first fight by TKO. That's the thing with Chandler, though. He does that all the time. All the time. It's just his thing. He just isn't good at thinking in the cage. He just makes mistakes constantly. And Oliveira's just not somebody you can do that against. Oliveira he mastered it. He figured out, I'm so nice at jiu-jitsu that people won't follow me when they hurt me. So I can recover and then get back up and go again. You don't see that really from anybody else, but he knows he can do that. And that's why he's getting knocked down so many times. Eventually, he's not going to just get to go back up because he's just going to be lights out. That's going to pay eventually because he doesn't have much defense at all because of what I just said. So the lights are going to go out, right? Tony was one of the most durable guys ever until Chandler front kicked him in the face and made a meme out of him, and then it was all down. I mean, it was downhill before that, but that was the durability time. Eventually those chins go. My GOAT, Max, a few weeks ago, got knocked out. Eventually it happens. And if he comes out here again and just keeps his hands low, I think Chandler can just knock him out clean. But at the same time, then I worry about him making a mistake and falling into the guard, getting caught with something. I kind of feel like it's going to be a sub this time for Charles. He's just going to make Chandler make a mistake. His striking has really developed too. I think Chandler's a better striker, maybe a little cleaner, but Charles has more tools. I love the knees. And I do think he can catch Chandler as well. So I'm torn about it. I'm just going to pass. I think it's my guess. I'll call it a guess is Charles sub, but not super confident about it.
That's fair. And then I don't know if they counted it as a knockdown.
He hurt him. He did hurt him.
Yeah, he hurt him. I don't think it counted as a knockdown because I don't think it was a full knockdown, but he did definitely send him off balance. But yeah, Evan, what do you got on this one?
Yeah, I think there's probably a touch of value on Michael Chandler. I'll pick Michael Chandler. I'm not gonna bet it though, only because it's just so high variance, so volatile. This is one where let me just watch this one and enjoy it. It's going to be fireworks. It's going to be a great fight. Like one of the best fights I think the UFC could put together right now is Chucky Olives versus Michael Chandler. It's a fucking awesome fight. I think that Charles might get hurt bad in round one. I think that Chandler's capable of hurting anybody in round one. And Charles being the tall guy with the kind of, tall man striking defense at times, I think he's super live to just get hit with an overhand and get fucked up early. So I definitely think there's value on Chandler. If I was going to bet Oliveira here, I would wait, get that first 5 minutes out of the way. And then maybe it's a pick 'em line now, but shit, now start hammering Oliveira. So I'll take Chandler to win by KO.
I love it. I love that. And one thing I do want to point out, or I want to mention, I put it out on Twitter earlier today. If you haven't, this isn't going to be good tape study, but if you haven't seen both of the Michael Chandler, Eddie Alvarez fights, do yourself a favor. Oh my gosh, those are amazing fights. Those are two of the best fights you'll ever watch, ever. So if you haven't seen them, go watch them. But Effie, what do you think on this one?
Yeah, dude, it's kind of wild. A different ref probably calls that Oliveira fight.
Exactly.
You have Michael Chandler being champion. This line would be
Can
way
you
different.
imagine that timeline?
Dude, right? The whole history would be way different.
That's a timeline I don't want to live in. I had so much money on him in that fight.
That ref gave him some time, man. I'll be honest. And then he just gets caught in the beginning of the second round. But so I 100% agree, especially that first round. Even later in the fight, I wouldn't be shocked to round 2, round 3, knockout by Chandler. I think Oliveira gets hit super easy, and I do think that it's going to catch up, like Couch said. But man, I'm going with Olives. At the end of the day, I don't want to overthink it, man. But I guess I will contradict myself there, but because I want to say Chandler's getting up there, man. He's 38 years old. The end of the career is here soon. He's always fought kind of with low fight IQ. He's more of an entertainer than a winner. He doesn't care about winning. He wants to entertain, and that's kind of a detriment, When now it's he really has no time to really focus about the fans. He needs to get this win. He's showing at times, especially in that Poirier fight, where he's going for takedowns, picking him up and slamming him, where he just needs to do stuff like that. And I just think that at this point, we could finally see some maturity, with him and his game plans. But who knows? Maybe that's just the way he'll be forever, and he wants to go out on his shield. I wouldn't blame him, he's a warrior and everything. But yeah, I wouldn't be shocked to see a smarter Chandler here coming off the layoff. Considering his career a little bit more. But going with Oliveira, I think he subs him. In round 3. But I wouldn't be shocked if Chandler gets this done, man, at all.
Dude, I seriously think that if Chandler goes out here with I just need to win this fight. I don't care how boring it is, and if he just gets the takedown, because he's going to get the takedown, gets works his way to mount and just grapevines his legs, gets double unders and just holds him, and then just body head every now and then. Dude grinds out the most boring 5-round decision, because there's no way Charles is getting out of that top pressure from Chandler at that point. But there's no way he's doing that. But if he wanted to win, he could do it. He could.
You really want him to go to the ground with Oliveira?
Oh, he would be fine. He could stay safe. If he gets top position on Oliveira, he can stay safe. The only person that subbed Michael Chandler was Poirier in that last fight, and it wasn't because he subbed him because of his jiu-jitsu skill at that point. It was because dude straight up couldn't use his nose to breathe and has mouth wide open like this, and was just
talking about different levels, though.
Dude, he's got really good submission defense. He really does. For all of Chandler's faults, submission defense isn't one of them. So I think he could stay safe, especially if he's just with the sole purpose of, I need to hold this man down. I think he can neutralize the weapons, but maybe not.
He's actually only landed more than one takedown once in the UFC.
The UFC, though, that's different. You have to look at when Chandler was trying to win fights, not when he was just trying to have exciting fights. Once he got to the UFC, he tried to win the Hooker fight, and after that, I take that back.
He's also been fighting guys with good takedown defense, though, in the UFC.
When he's also just not trying to win those fights. When he fought Gaethje and he fought Poirier, dude was trying to have fight of the night. The whole lead up to the fight, he's like, we're going to have fight of the night.
I was there live for the Gaethje one. It was so good.
Dude, he wasn't trying to win that fight. If you're trying to win that fight, you're not just walking forward with your hands down, just screaming for a fun fight. That's not how you win a fight.
It's not the ultimate winning championship.
It's
the ultimate fighting championship.
Not the ultimate winning championship.
Not that life.
You're dead on right there. Actually, that's the truth. So you got a point. So and there's a reason people want to see Chandler fight. It's because he's exciting, not because he wins. I mean, yeah. But either way, he did waste 2 years. But at the same time, You know, maybe he needed some time to recover anyway. Dude was in a bunch of wars, so maybe it's good for him. You know, it's one of those things. I don't know. But yeah, there you go. Look at that. Space monkey all over it. He's going to take his head off. I hope he does. I hope he still survives. I do hope he survives. I hope it's not like an olive getting shot out of a drink. Like, it just I hope not. But either way, we're going to move to the main event. We have the main event. Stipe Miocic is trying to come back and reclaim his throne as the, I guess, heavyweight champion, although I still think Aspinall is the rightful heavyweight champion. But Stipe is going to try to regain his heavyweight championship from that piece of human garbage known as Jon Jones. Couch Warrior, how do you see this one going?
All right, I'm going to break this one down, and then I got to go because it's really late here, and I got to walk my dog. But
okay, cool.
So, I mean, obviously, I'll pick Jones. I think the line is a little bit wide, but I don't know how you can be confident with anything. You just don't know which version of either guy we're going to get. Jon Jones at heavyweight looks really slow, looks really flat-footed. Don't really know what it's going to look like when he gets any kind of adversity because he didn't get any against Gall. And then Stipe's been out for 4 years after getting knocked out clean. He could look great. His boxing is better than Jon's. Who's faster at this point? I can't tell you. Both guys hit relatively hard. Maybe Stipe hits harder. I don't know. He's the natural heavyweight. Stipe's good wrestling, but I don't think he can take Jones down personally. And I think if anyone gets takedowns, it's probably Jones. The ground and pound, now he can do his elbows. That'll be there for him. Jiu-jitsu edge for him. I don't think he subs Stipe, but he'll have that advantage. So, yeah, I'll pick Jones. I'm not insane about it. What can you really do with minus 700? But I do have it as my second parlay leg. So
there you go. There you go. And, all right, so you got to take off, yeah?
Yeah, I'll head out now. Thank you guys for all tuning in. Thank you, Evan. It's a pleasure. Thank you, Effie, and Tyler, as always. It's a pleasure, brother. Peace out, guys.
Later,
you,
brother.
And then if anybody in the chat hasn't subscribed to Couch Warrior yet, his link's in the description. You're also making a really bad decision by not subscribing to him. And if you're making that poor of a decision, I assume you're making other poor decisions. So maybe you need to get some stuff figured out in your life. That's okay. I understand. We can make that turnaround tonight. Go ahead and subscribe to him. Watch some of his content. You're going to love it. Couch Warrior is fantastic. Evan, what do you think about this here main event we've got?
Yeah, Jon Jones is a piece of shit, man. He's got an absolute piece of shit. And honestly, I think the line is wide. I mean, Stipe is just so fucking old. It's like, I honestly think of, I know somebody in the chat mentioned the Jake Paul, Mike Tyson fight. Like, it's similar concept to me where, I don't even know that this is not like, you know, competitive theater. You know, I don't know that Stipe has a real chance to win this fight. I don't, like, objectively, I think the line is wide, but I'm not going to bet Stipe. I think Jones finds a way to win. Maybe it's with the 12-6 elbows, like some poetic justice there. I'll be rooting for Stipe. I can't stand Jon Jones. He's absolute trash. He's just the most unlikable guy. I'm happy for him just to go away, get the fuck out of here, dude. Like, it's just such a stupid fight, in my opinion. And like, all right, he choked out Cyril Gahn in, you know, a couple minutes last year, and then before that, you know, he in my opinion, very close fight with Dominic Reyes. I'm not gonna say he lost the fight. It's very close. If you scored for Dominic Reyes, I definitely think that's there's a valid case there. Thiago Santos, split decision. You know, the Anthony Smith fight, you know, Anthony Smith, he's not really blowing these guys out at light heavyweight. And then he choked out Cyril Gahn. That looked fixed to me. I'm not like one of these guys that thinks that a lot of this stuff is, you know, scripted or whatever, but that was a weird one, dude. Like, and if there's a guy who the UFC, for whatever reason, is willing to, like, do weird shit for, it's obviously Jon Jones. So, probably Jones wins by decision. That's what I'll say.
Yeah. Effie, what do you think, man?
Yeah, man, I agree with Shady. It was 3-2 Rez. I saw it. You saw it. We all saw it. Dom probably should have won that fight. But, yeah, I agree, man. Like, it's kind of interesting. This is Jon's second fight at heavyweight where we still have the same questions we had going into the first one. We haven't seen him take a punch at heavyweight. We haven't seen him take a kick at heavyweight. We haven't seen him wrestle, get extended at heavyweight. You know, that Cyril Gahn fight just left us so, like, bitter, like, with no answers. And here, like Stipe obviously has a chance to win, but I just don't see it. Like obviously it's MMA, anything can happen. The guy's line minus 1,000. He's gonna be, they can break their leg. Something can happen, but odds are it probably won't happen. I think that John probably does submit him in this fight. I think he gets him down. I don't think he wants to take damage. I don't think he wants to stay at range and take strikes from heavyweights. And I don't know, man. I just have a bad taste with this guy. Like, gonna go out there, fight Cyril Gahn, get a quick win, get this fight, and defend against Stipe, and then probably leave and like claim that he like went to heavyweight and like won a belt. And I'm just like, this is the cheapest run ever. Like, what are we doing? Like with Tom, Wayne. Yeah, exactly, the duck. But yeah, man. I mean, this is kind of a sham, but going with Jones submissions. It's funny, man. You guys both gamble. You both know fights. You both know people that gamble. Like, I really don't know that many people with money on this fight. You would think like a huge pay-per-view, historic fight. Like everyone's like, no, I'm good. Like, huge. The line's crazy wide. Like John's probably gonna win, but yeah, that's probably it as far as it goes.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I agree. Jones probably wins. I don't want it. I even threw $5 on Stipe just so I could just to make sure that I didn't accidentally start being like, well, I get a higher picking percentage if Jones wins, and that could help the YouTube algorithm if I'm picking higher and people are like excited. So I'm like, no, I want Jones to lose. I want him to get beat so bad that I was saying that I want it to be similar to how Khabib was beating guys early, where he would not even try to finish them, where he would just try to make them regret the decision to even get in the cage. Kind of like he did to Edson Barboza, where it was just like a life-altering beating. And he made him really question whether or not he should have ever woke up that morning type of thing. I want to see that happen. Is it going to happen? Probably not. It sucks. Jon Jones deserves that kind of a beating, but the world is just not fair. So unfortunately, I think Jon Jones probably wins. I think it's a decision, though. I think Stipe is going to give him a better fight than we expect. And I think Jon Jones, although he finished Cyril Gahn, it's one of those things where before that, it's been a while since he was finishing fights. And if we know anything about Cyril Gahn, it's that once you get him down, he's not super. I guess he technically has a win by heel hook, but come on. I mean, he's not a grappler. And
fucking Jones, win for one against Francis and cost him the fight.
Dude, yeah. That was
taken down a million times by Francis, who had no knees.
Imagine though that timeline where freaking Cyril Gahn actually wins that fight because he didn't go for the heel hook.
Right.
And that's insane. Because then if that actually happens though, Jon Jones does have the legitimate claim to be lineal champion. But right now it's just BS because Jones is not the lineal champion. Aspinall isn't the lineal champion either, but he's got more claim to having a legitimate championship. I mean, he beat Pavlovich, who was on an absolute tear. I understand that he's lost again since then, but he was on a legitimate tear and was kind of the person that people thought okay, I would a lot of people would have taken Pavlovich over Gahn if those two were matched up at the time of Jones Gahn. I honestly think. And
dude, there's 6 heavyweights I'd probably pick over John.
Dude, seriously. Yeah. Seriously. And I think Jon Jones is smart enough to know that if he fights Aspinall, he's not going to make it out of the first round. Jones is a very, very skilled fighter. Aspinall is just he's way bigger. He hits so freaking hard. The way he just one shot and people are just gone. They're just on another planet. So I can't. I don't know. I think Aspinall would beat him, but unfortunately we get the Stipe fight, which if Stipe wins, I'm going to be thrilled. I'm going to be absolutely thrilled. And I think the UFC just they just back a freaking semi-trailer up of money to Stipe's front door, and they're fight Tom Aspinall. But if Jones wins, I don't think he fights Tom Aspinall. I know people like Helwani are saying that they think, oh, well, he's just playing it up so they make you want to watch the fight more. And that's possible. I think Jon Jones definitely is afraid to fight Aspinall because
I think his ego is so big and his, one Fugazi loss, he doesn't want to lose at this point.
No. And he won't risk it because he knows that he has a really good chance of losing that fight to Aspinall. He ain't gonna risk that. And he knows it's really unlikely he loses anybody else, any of these other guys that he's calling out. He said Jamal Hill or Derek Lewis would be a better fight.
He called them fun.
Get out with that nonsense. So I don't know. Either way, yeah, we're all picking Jon Jones. Nobody wants Jon Jones to win.
It's also kind of annoying. Gordon Ryan's going to be in his corner and he's going to win. Fuck, he's annoying as fuck, Gordon.
Yeah, dude, Gordon Ryan's one of those guys that like he's super skilled and stuff, but that he's like he just makes you hate him too. Like I don't know, but like I watch a lot of his jiu-jitsu instructionals because like they're good, but
Yeah.
you know what it is. Oh yeah, shout out to Jake. I meant to shout you out earlier, dude, but then the chat just went crazy and I lost you. So shout out, but yeah, apparently
It's a really good. That's a really good point. MMA Giga Chad has retired from all things competition since that Wager Wars episode. So
you retired him?
Yeah, well, I lost to him, so he's retiring on time. This was like his Super Bowl. It's a total Canadian soy boy.
He beat both of us. If I could slaughter me, yeah, he beat both of us. Yeah.
I'm actually gonna go up and see him in a few months, and we're gonna do a grappling match. So don't bet Chad on that. We're gonna set a line. We'll do some. We'll have Pepe take money in escrow, and he's getting choked out.
Are you guys about the same weight?
He's probably got 10 pounds on me.
Okay, 10 pounds. I mean, it makes a difference.
I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Are you like submission only, or is this like
we haven't worked it out? Out all the finer points. I'm gonna sub him.
Okay. Well, you let me know where I can bet on this because like your confidence is making me think I should bet on you. So yeah, like when the lines are up, I'm betting on you. But all right, guys,
that's great, dude. Follow Chad, follow Pepe, follow all the fight numbers, guys. Thank you guys so much for having me on, man. It's a lot of fun. I like to chat with some new people. I get stuck in my little bubble. It's nice to, interact with new people. So it was a lot of fun.
I agree. I'm always looking forward to that. And then you mentioned it the other day, like we should jump on a live on your channel as well, because I would love to.
I'm like, it's an old channel, not a ton of following, and I'm just started to revive it, recently. So yeah, we'll definitely do something.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure I got it linked in the description here, so should be good as long as I got the correct one.
Appreciate it.
Cool. So yeah, hopefully everybody checks it out. Hopefully everybody, if you're in the chat and you're not subscribed to these guys as well, what are you doing? We talked about this. Stop making poor decisions. Like you got a few things you can do to fix your life, and one of them is listening to all these sharp folks that we had on the panel today, because they're at least going to help your bank account. If nothing else, you're at least going to have money in the bank. Like the rest of your life could be rough, but if you got money in the bank, it's going to make it a little easier. So listen to these sharp folks. They know what they're talking about.
Money is important.
Yes, money is very important. And darn it, I'm going to toss around to these guys, and they can give you their parting words and give you their spiel. Let's start with Evan, since he's the first time man. Let's tell everybody where they can find you, all that good stuff.
What's my Twitter? It's new, Evan_UFC. I try to make it simple for everybody. I recently had to nuke my Twitter. Some fucking dork who I know personally, and we got into some beef in a private Discord, and he started tweeting at my employer. So I had to nuke I'm a teacher, it's like a weird thing. So I had to, get rid of my old Twitter. So Evan_UFC, YouTube is Combat Capital. We used to have a lot of fun on that channel back in the day. Too much fun. So that's why I stopped using it. But thanks. That's all pretty much. Follow me on Twitter if you want. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, brother. Yeah. Absolutely. And then Effie, my guy, the man with the shades. Tell them where they can find you.
Yeah, man. Hit me up. Any Action Sportscast. Thanks for having me on again, man. First time meeting Evan. What up, dude? Nice to meet you. I've always seen Evan like on Twitter and in the chat. I always think he's hella funny. So it's funny. Like it's funny talking to you guys because you guys know fights, obviously, and you guys are funny too. So it's always fun to hang out and shit, kick it. But yeah, Any Action Sportscast, man. Hit me up.
Is Martin back this week? I haven't seen your video yet.
Nah, he's like out. He got hit by a semi truck on his bike.
A semi truck?
Yeah, but so he'll be out. So it'll just be me for a while.
Funny.
Yeah, no, he's all right. I was just talking to him today, but yeah. So usually it's me and my homie, but lately it's just me. So
dude, when you see him, just be like, "Yo, dude, pain fades, wounds heal, chicks take scars." Shane Falco.
He's in charge of sending you your cup that you won. So I'm gonna tell him. Yeah.
There you go. Hell yeah, dude. But yeah, dude, I hope he heals up because like that's rough. But I assume you're putting out your video like by yourself again, yeah?
Yeah. I was supposed to do it today, but I couldn't figure out my camera.
Oh,
but whatever. I figured it out this week.
Whatever. But either way, when Effie's video drops, go watch it because like dude needs to get to 1,000 subs. He's at like 300. Like I don't know what you guys are doing. So get him to 1,000. All right. Well, that's a wrap. I appreciate you all coming on. This was actually really fun. I mean, we're here for like 2.5 hours, so that's good stuff. To the chat, I appreciate all of you. Special shout out to McPooperton for becoming a new channel member. So appreciate it. You bought me some markers. I do appreciate that a lot. So anyway, thanks guys, and we'll catch y'all down the road.
Later, guys.